Hello everybody and welcome to the greatest episode of 3 Levels Deep there's ever been. Well, I guess I shouldn't say greatest. I should say the 3 Levels Deep episode that's considered the best. Because what we're going to be talking about today is a very strange list on Wikipedia. Joining me in talking about this awkward-ass list, we got Alex.
Hello.
And we got Matt.
Hey.
And together we are the 3 members of 3 Levels Deep that are considered the best.
We've appeared on 6 or more podcasts, therefore we're eligible.
Yep.
So, one strange night, I was looking around on Wikipedia and I found this list that's entitled List of Video Games Considered the Greatest.
No, considered the best.
No, it's... Oh, is it best?
Yeah.
Oh, geez, it is.
List of video games considered the best. I swear we just gotta edit this article and put the best in quotations.
Yeah, that might be for the best. And so this article is extremely weird, where it cites a ton of different long lists and some short lists that are published by gaming publications of like the greatest games of all time or the best games of all time.
Yeah. I think what's happened here is that somebody probably made a list on Wikipedia that was like greatest games of all time. But since that's subjective and Wikipedia is, attempting very hard to be an objective source, somebody came up with this like absurd method of trying to determine when a game should be on a greatest games list or not.
Yeah, when you have an article like that everyone can edit.
Yeah, asking for trouble.
Yeah, and I looked at the stats a little bit, and this article has descended into a little bit of an edit war. It's 8 years old, originally created in 2014, and I'd say it averages about an edit every single day over the past 8 years. Some days it's multiple because people are making edits, and then other people are reverting them because it's like, oh, you don't have enough sources, and then someone tries to dredge up some obscure gaming magazine to add a list of great games so that they can put their favorite on the list.
Yeah, because the criteria for a game being on this Wikipedia article is that it has to appear on 6 or more quote-unquote credible gaming publications lists. And that is entirely subjective. And there's close to 300 games on here. We're not going to go over every single one because that would end us. But each of us put a number next to it where we basically said we either agreed with this placement as one of the best, disagreed with this placement, abstain because we don't know enough or haven't played enough of it to pass judgment, or ones that maybe yes, maybe no, but we definitely want to talk about it. So we're going to go through anything that we all abstain or we all say yes to, we're just going to ignore.
I mean, we might just say, yeah, that game's great, deserves to be on this list. Or that game's trash.
Yeah, maybe we could just quickly say each game and not have to go into detail, but whatever. We'll figure that out as we go along. So...
yeah, you're along for the ride as we figure out how to best present this list.
Absolutely. So, starting things off, these are in chronological order and alphabetized within the chronological order per year. So, I don't have the years next to it, but, you figure it out. If you want to follow along with whatever the current version of this list is, the link is in the description.
It might be outdated already.
I fully expect it to be outdated because, like I said, there's an edit war on this thing every day.
Yeah, so this is the list as it stands at 3 a.m. on September 10th, 2022, which is when the final list was decided upon for the podcast. All right, so first game on the list, Oregon Trail. That's, I said yes or abstain.
Yeah, I mean, the Oregon Trail is a very classic game in the adventure genre.
Yep.
I don't think there's a lot to say about it.
Nope. And the very second game, I put down yes, Alex put down no, Matt put down discuss, and that's Pong.
Yeah, okay, so Pong is actually terrible. Pong is a bad game, and not only is it a bad game, I think that like I can't even judge it for the time because Pong is a step backwards, okay? Games that predate Pong include both what is widely considered to be the first video game ever, Space War, which is essentially PvP asteroids. It's literally like a 2D, multi-directional, low-gravity movement space combat game. That's way more interesting to me than Pong. That's almost like, as a genre, almost still good enough to like play today. And then there was actually also a variation of that called Computer Space, which essentially is the same concept, except Space War was actually not really accessible to a machine available to the public, whereas Computer Space was actually, I believe, in a cabinet that could be kind of bought and put in arcades potentially or something like that. And even that actually does predate Pong by a couple of years, the Computer Space game. And I just think Pong's actually kind of a step backwards. And also, hardware-wise, the hardware that like plays Pong can make more interesting games. Pong is just like, Pong just got really popular.
Yeah, you know why it got really popular? Because it was something that people could have in their homes. All right? They made Pong games that you could plug into your TV. And Pong is also way more accessible than those older games, just in terms of like understanding it. It's just you move up and down, and the physics are like kind of cool. I don't know. I think that it, for just historical purposes, like okay, here's a compromise I'll make to you. I think that Pong should be included alongside Computer Space and Space War. The fact that those aren't on here for being the first examples of computer games is a sin. Yes,
actually, that's another thing. And this gets back to like, this list is kind of nonsense because from a historical perspective, I agree. Pong should be on a list of greatest games, if only for its cultural impact and popularization of essentially like the concept, but it's a bad game. And I don't like it. And yeah. I say this as someone who played Pong when I was a small child, because we had an Atari 2600. We had a lot of old-ass video game consoles when I was a kid.
Yeah, I had an Atari, and I don't think I ever played Pong on it.
Yeah, no, I legit played Pong as a kid on the stupid wheelie-dealy
The paddle?
thing. Yeah,
the paddle controllers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The paddle controller.
Only way to play.
Yeah, honestly, actually, they had pretty smooth action.
Oh, yeah.
Like really high quality analog, like potentiometer stuff. Like if you make a good one, it feels good forever. It's the same kind of thing as like a really nice audio volume dial. Yeah. So like
that's something that else that we failed to mention is that like we all have our own thoughts on what makes a game one of the greatest games ever.
Yeah. And actually, sorry, I wanted to talk a little bit just about intro to the list as well, and I kind of forgot. But like, I honestly am confused by this list because this list seems to be a mixture of at least three things, okay? The first thing is that obviously there's a lot of games on here that were groundbreaking at the time. And I think that it's perfectly valid to like have something like that on a list of greatest games, even when the game isn't necessarily something that holds up anymore, but is there like for historical kind of reasons. But then there's also stuff on here that does hold up where essentially it's kind of like the peak of a series. And there's stuff on here where the games absolutely are still great. And in fact, like there's some examples of series on here where they only have a single entry from the series, but it's arguably one of the ones that's considered the best from that series. And then there's also games on here that are just like, they were popular at the time, and that's really the only thing that they have going for them. And they weren't even that great at the time. They were just popular at the time. And so this is kind of like a weird mishmash of a list. It doesn't have a consistent theme or really inclusion criteria. So it's just a jumbled list.
Yeah. Which is why I was so drawn to it when
I know, yeah, it's such a strange one. And then, yeah, it honestly seems to me like there's some weird editorializing decisions going on, like in the back of this like weird edit war. Because again, you know, some franchises, they might have one entry. It's the first entry, but it's actually not a particularly good one in the series. Others have like only one entry in the franchise, but it's the best entry in the series. Others have one entry, but it's just like a random one or whatever. I don't know. And then there's others that Like, there's a couple in here that, like, almost every main game in the series is on this list.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess we should, clarify what our criteria was for greatest. Like, I was pretty generous with a lot of these older games where even if I don't think the game holds up today, which a lot of these older games sure don't, if it is a groundbreaking or genre-defining game, I gave it the benefit of the doubt. That's, one of the reasons why I said yes to, Pong and a lot of others that are about to show up.
Yeah, and I think that that's a fair way to assess lists like this.
Yeah. And then the other criteria I have is, are there games that were great then and hold up? Maybe not like 100% as well, but like even like 80% as well as they did at the time. Like that's something that I would consider the greatest. So,
yeah.
Did either of you have any other like criteria of just like
no,
this makes it great?
That's what I was kind of going for. I was pretty generous with the list itself in terms of like I was accepting things that were groundbreaking or they were just really good and they hold up. I did say no to some things that I thought were simply popular at the time, but I don't like and weren't particularly groundbreaking. And there's a few of those.
Yeah, there is going to be some personal bias as well.
Of course.
So.
Yeah.
But for a lot of these early games, I put down Disgust. Like, I think they have their place, but yeah, they don't really hold up by today's standard. They have their place on the list, but they don't hold up.
Okay, so let's keep it moving here. The next game we got is Combat. Me and Alex say no to this one.
I don't think I've ever heard of Combat.
Yeah, I just want to have a quick note in that it's really funny to me that Combat somehow made this list because, again, this goes back to the editorial decisions. Combat was not well received at the time of its release. However, it did basically define the top-down PvP tank shooting genre.
Which isn't even like a rich genre.
It's not a rich genre, but there's like some Mario Party mini games on that.
That's exactly what came to my head when you said that.
Valued company.
There's like that like there's that like Wii Play. It had like tanks.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a genre that's only good for minigame collections.
It's basically a genre only good for minigame collections. But
I'll say this. The one thing about Combat is that it had a bunch of different modes to it.
It did have different modes.
That's about it. That's not good enough in my opinion.
It's not. No. And that's why I said no. But it's funny to me that like it somehow got bad reviews. It got mediocre reviews, yet somehow it still made this list.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So next we got Zork, which was a couple yeses.
I have no idea what Zork is. I only know it in name.
Zork is essentially one of the like really genre-defining text adventure games.
It might have been the first, even, but like
I don't think it was the first. Like
you were eaten by a Gru. Ever heard that one before? That's from Zork.
Yeah, it was like the first good one potentially, unless you count Oregon Trail as a text adventure, which I suppose it also is.
But they had graphics later on the many versions of that game. All right, next we got Space Invaders. A couple guesses from me and Alex, and Matt said Discuss.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty much what we like. It has its place on the list. It's just doesn't really hold up.
It caused a 100 coin yen shortage in Japan. That's how popular it was.
Yeah, I mean Space Invaders is iconic. Even if you've never played Space Invaders, you know Space Invaders. Yeah. It's such a cultural kind of thing. It deserves to be on the list. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's that bad. Like it's definitely
a fun game.
It's super arcadey, but like I think once we're getting to Space Invaders, we're getting to that point in like the arcade stuff where like stuff can kind of actually hold up.
Mm.
Yeah.
All right. Next we got Asteroids. Me and Alex said yes.
Yeah.
Matt said Discuss.
It's got its place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, just like
dated
classic arcade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can't wait for the movie. All right, next we got Adventure. I said yes. Alex said Discuss.
So I think it should be on the list, and this was like, I have to say yes for Adventure because it's basically not really a relevant game in terms of playing it, but it invented crediting game developers for their work.
Yeah.
And so it was like arguably kind of the first thing that like could be called an adventure game. And at the time, the policy of, I think it was Atari, was that game developers do not get to put their names in the credits. They're not artists, they're not even like a film grip. Like, they don't even get that level of like credit, right? Like, they don't even get the credit of like a craftsperson on a movie set. They're just like, no, you get nothing. And the guy who made it put his name in the game as an Easter egg, as like a credits Easter egg. So it invented Easter eggs and it invented credits.
Yeah.
Like, and it was also legitimately great at the time, but absolutely doesn't hold up. Mm-hmm. Like, groundbreaking, but it's groundbreaking in a genre that is far surpassed where that game was.
Yeah. All right. Next we got Battlezone. We all abstained on this one because,
I just don't know
listener,
much about it.
go look up Battlezone and you'll not know why we abstained.
Yeah,
Because we never experienced it for ourselves.
No, probably groundbreaking, but we cannot judge it at all.
Missile Command. Alex is the only one that put
I'm
yes.
the only one that put yes. You guys abstained, yeah. Missile Command's
don't-
great. I actually like Missile Command, and I think it's still kind of like a fun concept. I think you could actually you could make an updated, and someone probably has made updated Missile Command with like kind of like more interesting mechanics and like extra things in terms of like the gameplay elements, because it's almost kind of like a tower defense game if you think about it, or a shmup. It's like it's somewhere between a shmup and a tower defense game. It's actually almost not even in a modern genre. It kind of straddles where modern genres might be placed, but fundamentally it's like a wave. It's a wave-based survival game.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it had a trackball.
Yeah. Like,
Pretty dope.
I think that the core idea of Missile Command is quite fun, and it was like, I think, actually pretty ahead of its time.
All right. Next we got Pac-Man. 3 yeses across the board. Don't think we need to talk about that one.
If you don't know about Pac-Man, I don't know why you're here.
Next we have Centipede, which I put no. Alex put yes. Matt said discuss. I don't think Centipede's very good. Like, in terms of like, vertical shooters of the time, like, I think Space Invaders is a better game. I think Galaga's a better game. I just don't get Centipede. I don't get why it's so revered by people.
I like
know.
I like Centipede. It's not a great game, but it's different. But I think
Is it one of the greatest games ever?
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not.
I feel like it's more popular, or I feel like it's more popular because of how many phones it was included on.
Maybe, yeah.
Well, the other thing is, like, when we're talking about Centipede, there's almost like two games kind of that get referred to with that. Like, there's the arcade Centipede where you're controlling the thing and you're killing the centipede. And then there's the other thing where you're playing a centipede that grows and you're just trying to not run into your own tail.
I
Snake.
think I'm getting Centipede confused with Snake, yeah.
Snake's awesome.
Snake's not on here.
It's not on
Nokia
here.
Snake should be on here.
Yeah.
There's going to be some games, we'll probably get to them more at the end, that we think should be on here. But
And I think, honestly, I was kind of looking at this list kind of quickly because there's so many games on it, and I think I may have been getting confused with Snake as well. Snake should be on the list. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
Centipede, it's whatever. It was popular at the time, but maybe not actually that good.
yeah. Okay. Defender. Matt said discuss.
So I actually got Defender confused with something else, but because I just looked it up. But no, it does belong on.
I mean, Defender's might be the first shoot 'em up.
Well, it's weird to call it a shoot 'em up.
It's a side-scrolling shoot 'em up.
Yeah, but you can go the other direction.
That's still side-scrolling.
Would you consider Asteroids a
go
shoot 'em
both.
up?
Okay, we're not going to get into genres too much here. This is already going to be a long episode.
Anyway, Defender was, I think, groundbreaking at the time, and so I'm including it.
One of my game projects in university was we made a bootleg Defender.
Yep.
So it's got legs. Next, we got Donkey Kong. Yeses all around.
Yep. First game that had jumping. It invented jumping.
God. Jumpman.
Yeah, you play as Jumpman.
What about the game Jumpman for the Commodore 64? Was that before or after? I don't know. Okay, next Frogger. Yeses all around.
Yep. Frogger's great.
Great episode of Seinfeld.
I think it still holds up, actually. Frogger's fun.
I mean, like they're like there was this game Crossy Road that was released like 5 years ago on phones. That was
I think it was longer than that. It was longer ago than that.
It's just Frogger, and people loved it.
Yeah.
So.
It's endless Frogger.
Yeah. Okay. Next, Galaga, 3 yeses.
Yep.
Tempest, yes, and abstain, which that's fine. Vector graphics, pretty cool.
Yeah, vector graphics. Oh, actually, Tempest may or may not, I'm a little unclear, may have invented save data.
Really?
I know. I don't know.
Was it like the first one with a high score? Or?
No, it didn't have a high score. It actually apparently saved your progress.
That's crazy.
Apparently.
Not even passwords. It actually
No.
saved.
Yeah, it actually saved progress, apparently. I don't know. I haven't actually played it, but also it looks cool. Vector graphics and stuff. I think the graphics also make it pretty groundbreaking.
Yeah. Wizardry, Proving Grounds of the Mad Overlord.
I've never heard of this game.
Yeah.
Okay, I've heard of Wizardry, never played it, don't know enough about it. 3 abstains here. Joust, yes, and abstain.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
I mean, Joust is super weird, but like
but it's-
weird competitive platforming.
Yeah.
It's
cool.
like, it might be the earliest example of that.
Yeah. Next we have Miss Pac-Man, and me and Alex put down no. I think probably for the same reason.
It's derivative. It's just Pac-Man with a bow.
Yeah. Just go watch that Wayne's World sketch. It's just Pac-Man with a bow.
Is it not slightly harder as well, though?
I don't care.
I thought it was.
It's the exact same game. There are games here that have, a game and then the sequel to that game are on this list. But Miss Pac-Man is just more levels and she has a bow.
Yeah, it's the same game.
Yeah. So maybe that's just like getting into, maybe that's being a little bit too mean, but no. Pitfall exclamation point is the next one.
Yep. I want to change my abstain to a yes on this one, just because the advertisements for Pitfall featured a young Jack Black.
Okay. Greatest game of all time.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jack Black's been doing this for a while.
Wow.
Robotron 2084. I put down yes. The 2 you put down abstain.
I'm not familiar with this game.
no.
This was one of Midway's first arcade games. It's a dual stick shooter. It might be the first example of the genre.
Oh, okay. That's
It's
cool.
at least the oldest one here, unless you count Asteroids as a twin stick
No,
shooter.
that's not. It's not a dual stick shooter though. That's the thing. So if it's the oldest dual stick shooter, that's an innovation that it deserves a place for.
Okay, Archon, the Light and the Dark.
Again, I don't know what this
Yeah,
is.
same.
Battle chess.
Battle chess?
It's chess, but when you move the pieces onto the same space, you go into a little combat arena where you move the pieces around and fight, and each piece has different strengths and stuff like that.
My God, that almost sounds like fucking recursive chess. It's like, all right, we got a chessboard. Every time you have to capture a piece, play a sub game of chess. It's just like, what?
It's a sub game of combat, basically. But yeah, that's just cool.
That's kind of interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
Load Runner, Alex put yes, Matt put abstain. One of the first games with level creation, user-made level creation. Like, that's mind-blowing. Has to be on there.
Yeah. And also, if I remember, it has vector graphics, and I think it was also like, maybe I'm getting confused with another one.
It was on the Commodore 64, so it at least had pixel graphics at some point.
You know the funny thing? There's a Load Runner game that I actually played a lot of, but I think it might have been one of the later sequels or something.
Perhaps, yeah.
But yeah, definitely old school kind of game that did some stuff, I think.
Yeah. Next is MULE, Mule. This is one of Electronic Arts' first games, actually.
Yeah, this is a super weird game because I think it might be an example of it's almost approaching like an RTS, kind of, but it's also like a simulation game.
But yeah, it's like a competitive. It's like the precursor to Civ, for example. Like you're like trying to like get resources and build up your little plot of land, basically.
Yeah.
Competitive 4-player. It's really
like
weird.
I think it's basically a 4X game way before 4X was a term.
Yeah, so that's on there.
So it's absolutely groundbreaking. Yeah.
Yep. We have a game here that was just called Star Wars. I believe this is, the first Star Wars, the arcade game, which all of us abstained on.
Yeah, I tried looking it up, and I think it's essentially Death Star run, rails shooter.
Yeah.
And it might be one of the earliest examples of a rails shooter in 3D, because it had, I think, 3D-ish vector graphics.
Yeah, We don't know enough about it.
Probably groundbreaking, but yeah, we don't really know much about it.
Elite is something we all abstained on as well. I don't know what the original Elite looks like. I know Elite Dangerous, but I don't know anything about the original.
I don't know anything about the original Elite, and I didn't bother to look it up.
I know Elite beat Agents.
Oh yeah, the venerable Elite series. All right, Marble Madness. Me and Alex put yes. Matt abstained, which I'm shocked at.
Yeah, come on, you don't know more. Did you not know Marble Madness?
I know it in name.
Marble Madness is crazy. It was made by Mark Cerny, who later went on to work on Crash and architect the PS4 and PS5.
Yeah, but like,
I mean, you could tell from Marble Madness that this is a goddamn hardware guy with like the physics that were in this game.
oh yeah, I mean, the physics of Marble Madness are like way ahead of the time there. Mm-hmm. Like Marble Madness, yeah, had physics in a time when physics wasn't really a thing.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say that, but like isometric 3D physics.
Yeah, like really cool. Tetris, resounding yes.
Yeah,
let's go.
We don't need to explain Tetris.
Gauntlet. Okay, I put down no. Alex put down yes. Why did you put down yes? Gauntlet sucks. Gauntlet is a quarter muncher.
Okay, yeah, but it's definitely an iconic game.
Your health constantly drains.
Okay, the original...
In the original Gauntlet.
Yeah.
So you had to... if you were just like sitting around, just like trying to scope out the map or whatever, you had to keep popping in cores because your health was constantly draining.
Okay, so here's the thing.
It was an asshole of a game that I cannot support.
Here's the thing. OG Gauntlet, I agree, it kind of sucked. Some of the later Gauntlet arcade cabinets were incredible though, and I loved them. But this is the only Gauntlet on the list, which is a damn shame, I think. Because it's not... The first one is not the best Gauntlet game, and I don't know that the original Gauntlet was necessarily... I don't really know how groundbreaking it was. I didn't really play the original, but the later ones, which are not on this list and probably should be, aren't here. Mm-hmm. That's really why I voted yes.
Okay. The next one is also one we disagreed on. Ghosts and Goblins. I said no. Alex said yes. Matt said discuss. Have you played this game?
A little bit.
Have you jumped in this game? How can you consider this one of the greatest games of all time if you've jumped in Ghosts and Goblins? Okay?
I may.
It's got some of the worst platforming I've ever touched. Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think I voted yes because I was just thinking it did something new, but
being hard as balls, making you replay the game from the start after you beat it the first time.
Yeah, I don't actually like the game, so I would change. I could change mine to a no. I don't really. I can't actually say I played it much. I know it was very well known, but mostly, yeah, for being hard as balls.
Yeah, no, fuck this game.
I think the thing is it came out around the same time as Super Mario Bros., but that's the next on the list, and that's a way better game. And I said yes to Super Mario Bros. Santo said yes to Super Mario Bros. Matt said discuss.
I definitely think it has its place on here, but it's just... I don't know, it's... the same.
Are you going to say Super Mario Bros. Doesn't hold up? Because I'm going to disagree. The graphics don't, but the gameplay's still, like, tight as fuck. The game has damn near perfect platforming, except for the bugs, which are hilarious.
You know what? Change it to a yes. Yeah,
Sure. Like, the graphics are dated, but honestly, the game's so iconic in every way. The levels and the music.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like apart from like Tetris, like or any of these older games games older than Tetris are ones that were like, oh, the music. Maybe Galaga. I guess Donkey Kong. Yeah, okay. There's some examples.
Maybe
of
Donkey Kong.
Iconic music.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
What's the game earlier than Super Mario Bros. That had iconic music? Donkey Kong. The game that introduced the plumbing character with overalls.
All right, you got me. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Super Mario Bros., like, yeah, the music still holds up, basically.
There's like 3 tracks in the game, but...
they're all incredibly good. Yeah. And like, yeah, you just take those tracks and put them onto some like instruments, and they even people that don't like the 8-bit sound, I do personally, would say that it's great music. Mm-hmm. Nintendo's basically been riding those tracks for what, 30 years, almost 40 years now.
Yeah.
Okay, so next we've got Ultima 4 Quest of the Avatar. This is going to be a recurring theme. We know nothing about the Ultima games, correct?
Yeah, I really don't. The only Ultima game I really know much about is Ultima Online, primarily because I've read a lot of write-ups about Ultima Online.
Yeah.
It is on the list later, and it was actually incredibly groundbreaking for many of the systems that it had. Like, it had, like, a lot of player created and run kind of like essentially economic systems in the game.
Yeah.
And you could even like buy land and upgrade the land and stuff like that. And there was like crazy PvP stuff. And so like Ultima Online, pretty much as far as I have read, essentially defined everything that we know of as an MMO. Mm-hmm. Ultima 4, I have no idea.
Yeah. All right. Next, we got Bubble Bobble. I said no on this one.
I mean, I mostly just said yes because it's iconic, but
it's a flickery mess.
it's kind of it's not really, I don't actually like it that much. It's probably one of the least favorite like arcade puzzle games that I've played.
Now, Bub and Bob went on to do, Bust a Move. Those are great games. But Bubble Bobble for the NES? No.
I can't speak on Bubble Bobble, but I love Rainbow Islands, the story of Bubble Bobble 2.
What?
What are you talking about? Is that also a puzzle game? Or...
It's a platformer.
Okay.
But wait, wasn't Rainbow Island like just a reskin of a different game? Or was a different game a reskin of Rainbow Island? What's going on?
Who knows?
We got
Let's go. Next entry, Legend of Zelda for the OG NES.
A game I have never played, but I recognize its importance.
I have played it and it sucks. It blows. It's honestly it's no good anymore. I actually don't recommend that you play the NES Legend of Zelda because I don't like it. I think it's janky. It's super janky. The hitboxes are terrible. The graphics are a flickery mess because I think it was actually pushing the hardware to the limits. Especially when there's lots of enemies on screen. But it invented the Legend of Zelda series, and so I had to say yes.
It's got its place for sure.
Yeah, it defined a bunch of the things that are still essentially the same in the series. So,
All right,
speaking of that series, it will return.
yes.
And then immediately the next game, they go side-scroller.
Listen, the NES was the glory days of the first game being completely different from the second game. It was beautiful.
Yeah, except Super Mario Bros. 2. The Lost Levels, as it's known. Yeah. Well, it was just Super Mario Bros. 2 in Japan, and it was Super Mario Bros. Lost Levels here in North America, where they didn't release it until it was in a pack-in collection on the SNES.
Yeah.
Because they were worried that it was too hard.
And too similar. Okay, next we got Outrun. I'll put Abstain here, but Outrun has great music.
Outrun has great music, and I think it inspired a lot of. It inspired so much stuff that I think it deserves
arcade
a
racing
place.
game. Yeah, sure.
Also, have we seen a racing game yet on this list? No. Is it the oldest racing game? I don't think so, but
no, I don't think so.
It definitely was one of the earliest influential arcade racing games.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next we have Contra. Couple yeses and an abstain. Contra's pretty dope. Double Dragon, I put down yes. And I put down yes for another of the beat 'em up genre later. And this is an example of these games define the beat 'em up genre, but I don't think beat 'em ups are good.
Yeah, that's kind of why I said yes too. It's certainly genre defining, but the beat 'em up genre I think is fundamentally not actually particularly relevant anymore.
No,
and I think it's essentially it's a quarter muncher of a genre that's explicitly what it's designed to do. Mm-hmm. And if you want to go deeper into the mechanics of what's good about a beat 'em up, I think something today where you're closer to some kind of an action game that action games have just moved on, right? A lot of games nowadays, there's a lot of emphasis on dodging or kind of positional management that the beat 'em up genre didn't really do.
Yeah, the beat 'em ups probably intentionally gave the player characters bad movement options so that you get hit. and had to
Yeah.
put more
Yeah.
quarters in. So
Yeah, they were kind of new though, and I mean I think interesting at the time, but yeah, I don't like them.
okay. Next, Mike Tyson's Punch Out. It's a dope series of boss fights.
Yep.
So a
I've
couple
never
yeses.
played a Punch-Out, so I can't really speak to it.
R-Type, a couple yeses and an abstain.
Yeah, very. I think it was like a pretty. I can't remember if I've actually played it, but very influential
Yeah.
shmup.
Upgrades, pretty dope.
I've played
Was it the first one with upgrades?
I don't know.
Anyway, whatever. It doesn't matter.
the
I
only
mean, Galaga had the second ship. So
the only
Yeah, I think R-Type was definitely bringing the shoot 'em up genre a lot closer to what we think of it as today.
the only R-Type I played was that first WiiWare one on the Wii.
Huh. All right. Next, we got Sid Meier's Pirates. Alex is the only one that put yes on here. We both abstained.
I mean, I swear I've played this a little bit. I think I had some weird port for the PC that was much later, but I can't remember. Like, it was a weird game, and I barely even remember how it worked. But I remember it was quite unique.
Yeah,
I think-
it's pretty highly revered. So
Yeah, like I think it's actually quite innovative. It's just innovative in essentially its completely own thing that doesn't even map to like what we would like normally describe as other genres. Like I don't even know that it fits in a particular genre that I can name. So I think it deserves a spot on this list because it is well regarded and it did do some kind of interesting, weird stuff that's different, but it's not necessarily something I actually can talk a lot about because I barely remember playing this game, although I remember it was interesting. Mega Man 2, incredible.
yeah, it makes sense as Mega Man 2 and Mega Man 1 wasn't on here. Mega Man 1 was rough.
I can't say much about music. Good though.
Hell yeah. Okay, Ninja Gaiden. I put yes. Alex, you put no. Why?
Because that game is too hard.
That game invented cutscenes.
Sure. I guess that deserves a place on the list.
Yeah, that game is hard. I wouldn't say it's too hard.
I didn't remember that. I also just feel like I remember being like kind of bored with the game because it's hard, but doesn't really feel satisfying to actually like beat levels in.
Oh, I disagree. I think it's the perfect example of a Nintendo hard game. A game that's, if you just played through it and didn't die, it's extremely short, but it's a game that you are a kid, so you play it over and over again and get a little bit farther every time. And it had cutscenes. Super Mario Bros. 3, all yeses, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Final Fight, this is one where I put yes, but really don't care.
Another beat 'em up.
Yep.
So
Populous, Alex put yes.
again, it's doing something new. I think it was like Populous might have been the first quote unquote God game. And again, some of the later ones are really just strictly better than the first Populous, but they're not on this list
Yeah.
because I guess they're considered iterative improvements. Although sometimes an iterative improvement, sometimes those are pretty big iterations.
Yeah. All right, next we have the original Prince of Persia. And Alex put yes on this. I never touched the original.
I've never touched any Prince of
I've
Persia.
only played Sands of Time.
Yeah, I mean, The Sands of Time's amazing. The original Prince of Persia, it's a 2D, like, kind of, I don't even know, sword fighting, platforming kind of game.
I think it had rotoscope graphics, which was one of the big selling points.
It did, actually. The graphics in Prince of Persia were incredibly good for the time, and they were actually based on, I believe, Errol Flynn's sword movement patterns. And yeah, there's like some stuff you can look up online about that, but it was also very good at the time, and there weren't a lot of like side-scrolling sword action games, so it was pretty cool.
Okay. Next we got SimCity, birth of the city building genre. That's some yeses.
Yeah, not just birth of the city building genre, but the amount of like system design and simulation in SimCity is actually insane.
Okay, next, Secret of Monkey Island. Alex put yes. So I'm guessing you're the only one that's played it.
Iconic adventure game that is actually good. And there's a reason they're remaking this. I think it's...
For like the third time or whatever.
Yeah, there's like another remake that's coming out pretty soon, I think. Literally all they need to do is reskin the game with some slightly better graphics and sound and stuff.
Yeah.
The writing's incredible.
Speedball 2, Brutal
Also,
Deluxe.
it has great... Secret of Monkey Island also has some banging music tracks in it.
Next, we got Speedball 2, Brutal Deluxe. I don't know what that's game.
I don't know
same.
what this is. I said yes by accident.
Oh, okay, well,
Okay, so 3 abstains.
all right. Super Mario World. I don't like it. It's one of the greatest games of all time. Let's move on. That's just unarguable right there. Next is Wing Commander. Alex said yes.
Yeah, I mean, I love space. I think it's one of the earliest examples, or at least a popular example, of a 3D space, like spaceship kind of dogfighting game, which is a really cool genre of game. I think it's one of those genres that has perpetual interest, as evidenced by vaporware, such as that game that I can't...
Star Citizen?
Star Citizen, yeah, like that
Same
vaporware.
person.
Oh yeah, it is the same
it?
guy too.
Yeah. Oh.
But Wing Commander was groundbreaking at the time, and some of the later games, and some of them weren't always in the Wing Commander series that the developer worked on, were also incredible. Free Space comes to mind, but I don't remember if that was the same team or not.
Okay, Another World. This is a game by Delphine Software, who also made Flashback. Same kind of rotoscoped, graphic, adventure-ish game, but none of us played it, so abstains. The original Civilization
is probably the worst one, but absolutely groundbreaking. And the series is incredible and one of the best of all time.
I've only played a little bit of 4, but the Civilization games definitely deserve their places on the list.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember if this is the only one, though, because the first one...
not.
Okay.
All right. So Final Fantasy IV. This is an interesting one, because me and Alex both put down discuss.
Okay, so I honestly... Why is 4 the first one on this list exactly? And also, just Final Fantasy in general. Obviously a very popular, well-regarded series, and there's just a couple of entries on here, and I get the feeling that this is one of those things where it almost seems like there's some weird editorial decisions going on here, where it's 4 is the best 2D one that somehow has been agreed upon or something, and 7's the best 3D one, and then I think X is on here too. But
basically, the first Final Fantasy game of a console, except for the original, is one of the greatest games of all time. For a short period. Final Fantasy IV. I mean, one of the reasons why it's the first one on here is that 2 and 3 never got released in North America, so nobody would put those on.
And the first one was a bit rough.
First one is extremely rough. Final Fantasy IV is one of my least favorite Final Fantasy games. I don't think it should be on here.
Yeah,
it's
for a
got
2D
an interesting
one,
story, but there's no customization.
Yeah, for a 2D one, I would have expected 6.
Yeah, 6 is on here, and 6 is amazing. But Final Fantasy IV, a staple of the Final Fantasy games up until this point is customizing your characters and party. 1, you chose their jobs from the very beginning. 2, their stats raised with what you did with them in battle. It was a really janky, extremely exploitable, dumb system that didn't work well, but it was still interesting. 3 had the first iteration of the job system proper, where you could switch your jobs, throughout the game to match, what you want to do. 4, there's no customization outside of the equipment you give your characters. You can't choose anything. You can't choose your party composition. It's always determined by the plots. So and every Final Fantasy game past that gives you, customization options for your party and stuff like that. So it's one of the least Final Fantasy games in my opinion, despite the fact that the plot is extremely Final Fantasy. So I just really dislike the game, but I don't know.
That's fair. Yeah,
it's a lot of people's first JRPG.
It's
so
just
that's why it's on here.
And it's just one of these things where it's this list doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
this list just does not make sense. Anyway,
next we've got Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Absolute yeses.
I have not finished A Link to the Past, but it's just same formula as the original, but vast improvement.
Yeah, the Legend of A Link to the Past, I think it's still one of the greatest Legend of Zelda games. The game is basically solid.
It's my personal favorite.
It is so good. It is one of the best, and also since they haven't made a lot more 2D 2D like game. I suppose they made a couple lately, but it's legitimately probably the best 2D Zelda.
Yeah.
So,
I do personally prefer the 3D Zelda games, but yeah, no, this is a solid game.
they're actually pretty different, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, next we got Micro Machines.
What the hell is this doing on this list?
I know of I didn't even know it was a game. I know of Micro Machines as being mini car playsets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and they've made a couple Micro Machines games over the years that are just like generic tie-in crap.
Are they like RC Pro-Am? That's a great game.
Yeah, I think so. I think this one was like I think it was basically just a top-down track. So
Yeah,
just
okay.
a 2D top-down picture of a track and shitty sprites that like drive around on it with very bad controls.
Screw that.
I have
Cars
no
like Bronze
idea
like
why
that.
it's on this list.
Yeah, like Micro Machines to me is this like big toy van I had that unfolds into a playset.
Yeah, and so this is the branded
cars to drive around.
branded video game tie-in, and so it's bad because most branded video game tie-ins are.
I bet you it was for the Amiga.
No, I think it was on the SNES and
It was probably also on the
possibly
Amiga.
Genesis, but
Because here's the thing. A lot of the sources for this list are sources from Europe, which is why the next game is on here, probably, is because the next game's Lemmings. Now, I think Lemmings is an awesome puzzle game that should probably deserve to be on here.
I think
But
Lemmings-
it's definitely not one of the top even 200 games I would think of when making this list.
yeah, I think Lemmings deserves to be on the list for kind of being like different and new, but yeah, I would never put it on a list of greatest games of all time myself.
Yeah, it would take some digging to be like, oh yeah, Lemmings. All right. Next, Monkey Island 2, LeChuck's Revenge. Alex gives it a thumbs up.
Yeah, again, same thing as The Secret of Monkey Island. It's just a very, very good adventure game, and adventure games are dead now.
Yeah.
And so no one cares. Also some good music in this one, though. Mm-hmm. People are still remixing the stuff from Monkey Island 2.
Do the Monkey Island games have any sea shanties?
They do, actually.
Okay.
Or at least they have music that sounds
like a sea shanty?
Yeah. Not so much with the lyrics, but just like the vibe.
Okay, next is Sonic the Hedgehog. Now,
So I said yes, but even I'll admit, even among the 2D Sonic games, which are like I would say they're just straight better than pretty much all the 3D ones. The first one is actually rough, and I'd say that 2 improved quite a bit.
And then 3 and Knuckles seems to be the favorite.
Yeah, 3 and Knuckles is really good.
I've only played Mania. I've been meaning to check out the Origins collection and play those older ones.
as somebody who has never thought the Sonic games have been any good in any capacity ever, I put disgust because I still like... It's still Sonic, so it still probably deserves to be here as, you know, one of the most recognizable and iconic video game characters ever. I still think all the games are bad.
I mean, I think that the 2D ones in particular, they have this like
They have their
high...
fans.
Well, also, okay, there's not a lot of like high speed platformers. And the whole thing with the game is
There
that
shouldn't be.
that's the thing though. You have to actually just like basically memorize the layout to play the game at high speed, which you can, which is super fun, but also super challenging to get fast enough to like play the game like a madman.
All right, next we got Street Fighter 2. A couple yeses, and Matt said discuss.
Yeah, looking at this now, yeah, it's got its place on the list. It's so influential,
Yeah.
to just the fighting game genre.
Yeah, Street Fighter 2 being on here is like slightly weird in that like every iteration of Street Fighter 2 after the original is better.
Yeah,
And they were like 4 versions released in 2 years or whatever, and it ended up being. But just like the Street Fighter 2 family, abso-fucking-lutely.
Yeah,
Basically, like invented the modern fighting game. Like
and
they were
so
25 years
many,
ago.
so many like people trying to just
30
recreate
years
that
ago,
magic
fuck.
after Street Fighter 2.
Yeah. Next one's Super Castlevania 4. I said yes because I'm an idiot. This game sucks. I hate this game.
All right, I put no because I'm correct.
I actually went back to play Super Castlevania 4 like recently, as in like within the past year, and it's awful. I don't like it. Some of the later Castlevania games are great.
yeah, like I don't.
It's an iconic series that we haven't seen it on the list yet, But 4 in particular, I have played and I hate it.
I don't know why 4 is on here.
Would any of the first 3 have been on the list? I don't know much about Castlevania.
2 shouldn't be on the list.
2 shouldn't be.
2's bullshit. The first one, it's like a interesting early platformer, action platformer, sure. Maybe it should be, maybe it shouldn't be. But I don't think Super Castlevania 4 did anything with it other than being on the Super Nintendo and having better graphics.
Yeah,
so
it's
I don't know why it's here.
It's funny because the genre referred to as Metroidvanias, the Castlevania series is absolutely not a Metroidvania
until Symphony of the Night.
Until quite late, yeah.
So, next is Alone in the Dark.
Randomly, that's another weird omission. Metroid on the NES wasn't on this list, which I thought was kind of strange, but...
That's a little strange. Anyways, next is Alone in the Dark, early survival horror game. None of us played it. Next, Contra 3, The Alien Wars.
Why? I don't know this game. I don't know why I said yes.
Okay, because I have not played Contra 3. So
I probably just saw Contra and I was like, oh yeah, Contra. Mm-hmm. I don't know Contra 3 though.
Dune 2 is on here, and I put down Abstain. I don't know why. I haven't played it, but it's like one of the earliest examples of an RTS game.
Oh yeah, this one.
Like this should probably be a yes.
Is this in relation to the Dune series of books?
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is an early RTS. I remember that.
So
now.
Is this the first licensed thing on this list?
Micro Machines was licensed. Star Wars was licensed.
Oh, right, yeah, right,
yeah. Next is Flashback, the other game from Delphine that is well regarded, but never played it. Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis. I'm guessing this is another PC adventure game that none of us have played.
Probably.
Maybe a platformer, who knows? Okay, next is the original Mortal Kombat, which I put down no, Alex and Matt put down discuss.
This game is on here because it's Mortal Kombat, which caused a moral panic.
This game is on here because of fatalities.
Yeah, basically. And it's really funny because I don't think that Mortal Kombat has ever really been a good series. It's always been just
I disagree.
Well,
I don't know. Maybe okay.
The modern games are good.
The ones I've played, I've been whatever. They're fine, I guess. Sometimes.
Also, it tried to be different in using pictures of people
Mm-hmm.
actually dressed up as characters instead of making sprites for them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting and new.
Yeah,
I guess. But
I'd say no. I'm saying no to Mortal Kombat. I said yes to Mortal Kombat 2 later on the list because Mortal Kombat 1 is extremely stiff. It doesn't actually feel that good. Mortal Kombat 2 feels much, much better.
Yeah. I mean, broadly, I think basically it still applies. I don't think that they're actually really great or innovative fighting games. They're essentially just shock to try and get the edgy cred to get popular.
Yep.
That's
the midway way. All right, next is Sensible Soccer, which is an old soccer game. It is the fastest soccer game ever made.
Really?
It's the speed is insane, and it's weirdly deep. It's extremely well regarded. This is another example of just there's a lot of UK publications that are referenced here for this to be on here because nobody in North America has probably ever played this game.
This seems like one of those ones where I'm just it must have been popular somewhere because I've never even. But then I've never even heard of this game.
Yeah, it was very popular in the UK.
In Europe, yeah.
In Europe, so but it's actually pretty damn cool.
What about South America? If it was released there, probably popular too.
Yeah, probably. I don't know the state of gaming in South America in the 90s.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Next up, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Basically rehash. Santos says no. I say yes. I also say that this is it has Hydrocity Zone. It's the best game ever.
All right.
Moving on.
Star Control 2.
Haven't played
it. Super Mario Kart. Now, me and Alex put yes, but Matt has said no here.
I just don't like it.
It's janky. I'll
It's
give
janky.
it that.
It's janky.
But
yeah.
it invented the kart racer.
I will give it that.
Items are so dope to add to a racing game, and this game did it.
Yeah, it invented the kart racer. It has to be on the list for that reason alone, even though I also don't actually like the original
It's
Super
one of the
Mario
worst
Kart.
Mario Karts, for sure.
Yeah.
Ultima 7 The Black Gate. It's another Ultima game. Virtua Racing. None of us have played it. Wolfenstein 3D. That's an easy yes from me. I think it's an easy yes from you as well, Alex.
Oh, sorry. Wolfenstein 3D?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Like that game was like first-person shooters. Welcome to the to the genre here.
Yeah.
And I'm now really realizing that this is higher on the list than Doom. So did Wolfenstein predate Doom?
Wolfenstein predated Doom, yes.
Okay, you know what? I'm changing my abstain to a yes.
Okay. Next, Day of the Tentacle, LucasArts adventure game. Alex put yes. I guess you're the only one that's played it.
Again, like, it's just a good LucasArts adventure game that's really... It's really about all there is to it.
Yep.
Again, it's a dead genre. Whatever.
Next, Daytona USA. Alex, you put down yes for this.
I don't remember...
I know why you put down yes for us.
Why did I put down yes for it?
Rolling Start! The music in Daytona. That's the only thing that people remember about the game. The actual
Right.
game itself is crap.
Right.
Like, it's not
I
good.
only know the music.
Yeah.
Like, that's the reason it's on here. Is because
It was in a lot of arcades.
Yeah. Daytona, let's go. Like, yeah, it's got great music with dumb lyrics, and that's why people like it, but it's not a good game.
Yeah, change this one to a yes for me.
Yeah, Doom is next, and we're all agreed on
just-
that.
Iconic
yeah,
music, E1M1.
Yeah,
Also, it's just such an iconic...
yeah, like
And-
that game moves.
Yeah.
game
Like,
moves,
no,
yeah.
very few games do. After that, is Gunstar Heroes. Alex put down yes, I put down no. I think the reason for this discrepancy is that you owned a Genesis and I did not.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I didn't play Gunstar Heroes until much later, so going back to it, having not played it as a kid, I'm like, this is fine. This is a good game. I wouldn't say it's a great.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I'm being objective, I actually think that there's a lot of other games that are better than it in the side-scrolling shooting platforming genre. But it was probably the best of that genre on the Genesis, which is why it's on this list.
Fair. Next is Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. Love this game.
Yeah, I've never played the original. I only played the remake on the Switch, but it's basically just a reskin.
Yeah.
And
It's
like,
extremely cute reskin.
and I'd say this in terms of 2D Zeldas is up there. Like just the general, like how the fandom feels. Like it's definitely there right alongside A Link to the Past because like I see there's a lot of people who this is their favorite.
Yet there's a reason they remade the game.
They're Nintendo?
Yeah, but they haven't remade Link to the Past.
They kind of did.
A Link Between
mean-
Worlds is kind of just a remake.
I haven't actually...
It's a reimagining.
I haven't
and then
actually
there
played
was
that one.
Here's the thing though, is that A Link to the Past is so fucking good they just re-release it all the time instead of
It's
remaking
true,
it.
yeah. I mean, Link's Awakening was originally on the Game Boy, so...
It was awkward with using because you only had the A and B button for
Yeah.
your items, so you had to choose what is on each item. So sometimes you didn't have your sword equipped.
Yeah, so to be
the
fair,
original, it's
Link's
pretty funny.
Awakening kind of could use the update to make the controls
Yeah,
better,
exactly.
whereas A Link to the Past was already essentially
Yeah,
perfect.
it's just awesome. Next is Mega Man X, proving that yes, Mega Man games work on the Super Nintendo.
Yep. Mortal Kombat 2, the better one.
Yes, you actually put down yes for this.
Yes, because it's the better one.
Yes.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, just yes.
Yeah, okay. I'm not going to change these anymore.
Yeah.
Next is Myst. Mine should probably be a yes here.
So
Considering how much people fucking love Myst.
here's the thing. I actually don't like Myst that much. I played Myst when it was actually current, and it frustrated me. And the reason why it frustrated me fundamentally is that Myst was too ahead of its time. Myst pushed computer hardware to the absolute limit of its day in order to get like pre-rendered backgrounds, like full I think they had full video cutscenes and like just full color, like high detail backgrounds, which doesn't sound like much, but it was actually groundbreaking. And Myst almost didn't happen because like CD technology, they absolutely filled up the disc. They like actually had to do a whole bunch of technical workarounds to make Myst happen. Myst almost didn't happen simply because the technology couldn't allow it. However, Myst is super frustrating because it's hard to tell the backgrounds apart from the interactables, which is fucking death in an adventure game. And its puzzles are pretty obtuse a lot of the time.
That's one of the things I know about Myst.
So, like, I didn't actually beat Myst, and I kind of gave up on it because I didn't even want to beat Myst because the game was just frustrating. Like, I think that if you were to, like, remake Myst with full 3D environments, it would be a way better game just because it would be more obvious, like, how to interact with things. Because, like, you know, if there's, like, a little thing you have to click, it's really hard to tell apart the thing you have to click from the background, and it's just, like... So the game actually was too ahead of its time, I think.
Okay. Right. Next, NBA Jam. Amazing arcade sports game.
Yeah,
Incredible.
I'm just changing mine to yes here from staying. Cause, like,
yeses.
well, I haven't played it. Like, everyone just talks so highly of
If
this
there
game.
is any basketball video game that I actually have played time with and enjoyed, it's NBA Jam.
All right. Next, Phantasy Star 4, which is the odd example of a JRPG that Alex has played that I haven't.
Yeah, I don't...
Again, you own a Genesis, I didn't.
I also don't. I'm surprised Phantasy Star 4 is the one on this list.
People like 2.
Yeah, I thought
I like
was the
2.
beloved
Yeah,
one.
2 was amazing.
I'm still weighing on a remake. They've re-released 1 on
I
the
don't
Switch.
think that... I'm not even sure if I actually played 4, to be honest. I played the shit out of Phantasy Star 2.
Okay, this is just the Alex likes Phantasy Star.
There's no other Phantasy Star on this list. And
right.
again, there's some weird stuff going on with genre inclusion, or with franchise inclusion on this list. I swear
Okay.
there's weird editorializing going on in the background. But Phantasy Star was essentially like, I think it might be one of the earliest examples of a massive scale space opera RPG, like, in a video game. The scale of the story in the Phantasy Star series actually rivals, like, many, like, other space opera, like, novels even. And it was packed in on hardware that you absolutely could barely render sprites on.
Yep.
The first one was, I think, on the Master System. Not
Oh,
even the
boy.
Genesis.
The Master System.
Yeah.
Okay, next we got Ridge Racer.
Ridge Racer!
All right. Alex put down no for this.
I just put down no because I didn't have a PlayStation, and this seems...
You're just salty then.
I'm just salty because this seems like this seems like a game that was just, like, popular on PlayStation, but I'm not sure that it actually was innovative or good.
I mean, I don't know if the first one had the crazy drifting that defined the series, but this might have been like the first racing game with crazy drifting. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't really know.
I don't know much about Ridge Racer.
I
other
said
than,
no while knowing almost nothing about it, other than that the current crop of Ridge Racer games, like in the more modern era,
Alex
basically
feels
sucked.
about the PS1 how I feel about the Genesis.
Yeah, all I know about is Ridge Racer.
Yeah, and some dope soundtracks.
Yeah.
Next is Sam Max Hit the Road. Alex
Again,
said yes.
I'm just saying yes to all the iconic adventure games. That's really all that there is to that
Understandable.
Secret of Mana. Me and Alex both put down yes. One of the earliest good examples of an action RPG.
Yep.
So pretty dope. SimCity 2000. SimCity but better. That's
Pretty
some
much.
yeses. Star Fox. The technical wizardry they had to do to make this game happen on the fucking Super Nintendo is mind-blowing. They had to put like a 3D rendering chip on the fucking cartridge, basically.
Which is nuts.
Wow.
That they actually were able to put an additional rendering chip into the cartridge.
Yeah.
This is a total aside, but there's a really, really funny video I saw on YouTube where this guy actually put a Raspberry Pi into a NES cartridge to emulate like more advanced like games on a NES, which is the dumbest thing ever, and it's proof that like consoles made absolutely no sense. Like with cartridges, because like the cartridge was also the RAM. And so anything you can do with weird RAM manipulation, you can just do absolutely stupid things with a NES or SNES because of it.
Remember when you could get a RAM upgrade for the N64?
yeah.
Yep.
It came with my copy of Donkey Kong 64 because I couldn't run it without it.
Yep.
Okay, next we got Syndicate, old turn-based strategy game that none of us have played.
I only know of it in name.
After that, Donkey Kong Country. Dope game, dope music, hard as balls.
I feel like I should have put yes on here, but I've just never played it. But the music is great.
The
I
music's-
need to play them.
The music's incredible and iconic. Another thing that we forget is that Donkey Kong Country actually like really kind of popularized the pre-rendered 3D model sort of style for consoles at the time. Also, it looked way better on a CRT.
Yep.
If you're playing it today on a not CRT, it looks like ass. sadly.
Doom 2. Alex put down yes.
I don't know. It's Doom.
It's more Doom.
It's
I
more
don't know
Doom.
if it did anything like groundbreakingly different than the original Doom, which is why I abstained.
I mean, the thing about the Doom series is that I'm pretty sure the first few entries were all technically groundbreaking because of John Carmack, and
Well, probably, yeah, but
that's really about it.
no.
I can't remember. Was Doom 2 the one that had that stupid inverse square root?
That was Quake.
Was that Quake? Okay. Wasn't that the same company though?
Id, yeah.
Yeah.
Earthbound. Alex put down yes. I put down discuss because I haven't actually played Earthbound, and I really wonder how well it holds up. Or if it's just like, something that people remember as a quirky, fun RPG.
Yeah.
So it's one of my big blind spots for sure.
I have played it, although I can't remember if I've actually played the. Yeah, I guess it would be the original Earthbound because that was the SNES one.
Yeah.
Or were there multiple SNES ones? Yeah, no, because.
Well, Earthbound's the only one that came out here.
Okay.
No Mother 1, no Mother 3.
I played an Earthbound game, and I assume it was the first one, and it was weird. I think it deserves a place on the list, if only because it's very iconic, I guess. I don't even know. Honestly, it's fun, but honestly fucking super weird, and at this point in time, kind of janky.
Okay. Final Fantasy VI. Probably the best one.
Yeah, again,
Yeah,
I just said yes because I think it's one of the best
I can say yes
Final
to
Fantasy
this.
games.
Sega Rally Championship. Alex said no.
I said no. I don't even know what this game is. Fuck it. I probably should have said abstain.
Probably. Sensible World of Soccer. The sequel to Sensible Soccer, which Alex put down no.
What is this?
It's just more soccer.
I
Come on,
literally
it's
have
cool.
okay, I had no idea what Sensible Soccer was or is. I'd never heard of it until we started looking at this list. And I just wrote a note here. I was like, no. And then in all caps, what is this?
The only reason I know about this game is because of former games journalist, now gaming documentary maker, Danny O'Dwyer, the man with the most Irish name, who loves this game, and I've seen gameplay of it now, and it looks fucking fun as hell. It's just super fast soccer.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about it.
Ooh. Next is Star Wars TIE Fighter, one of the big, spaceship simulator genre games.
Yeah, I love the space combat dogfight simulator genre. That's why I said yes.
Okay. Next is Super Metroid.
Okay, I don't know why I put no here.
I don't know why. Yeah, why
I don't know why you put no either. I don't like the game, but it has to be one.
This is a yes.
Considered the best.
I didn't care for it as much as some of the others because I played through like all the other 2D Metroids leading up to Dread coming out. And it was probably my least favorite, but that's probably just because of how dated it was compared to playing like remakes, like the remake of one from the GBA and like the remake of 2 on the 3DS. It's dated, but it definitely has its place on the list.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, the other thing, I was thinking about this after, like, playing some of those older Castlevanias. I think Super Metroid actually was a lot more effective in defining the Metroidvania genre than anything else. Because the first Metroid, though mechanically similar, is janky and hard to play.
No in-game map?
And you actually have a map in this one, exactly.
Yeah, like Super Metroid is incredible. Mm-hmm. I think it still holds up, but it does show some age.
Yep. Okay, we're about a third of the way through, and we're at an hour 10. So we gotta fucking step on it. Okay, Tempest 2000. Alex said no.
Yeah, I looked at this, and I understand why the original Tempest was groundbreaking. This just looks like the original Tempest again, except now it's like 1996. And I'm like, it's not in 2000. Also, why would you name it Tempest 2000 and it releases in the mid-90s? It was like
everybody was naming things 2000 in the mid-90s.
I mean, I'm not upset about SimCity 2000, but I looked up Tempest 2000, and I was like, I don't understand why this was popular.
All right. XCOM, UFO Defense, first XCOM game. Absolutely yes.
Hell yeah.
Next, Chrono Trigger, best JRPG ever made. That's a yes.
Yep.
Original Command & Conquer, that's a yes.
That's incredible.
Mech Warrior 2, 31st Century Combat. You were disappointed about Tempest 2000. What about 31st Century? That's even farther ahead.
Yeah, and it's like the same time. Well, but yeah, came out around the same time, but it's like a way more like advanced kind of like
Yeah.
3D-ish, shooting-ish game.
Mech games, pretty dope.
Mech games are dope.
Yeah. Warcraft 2, Tides of Darkness. Great turn-based strategy game. First of the Blizzard games on here.
What was Warcraft 2 turn-based strategy?
Sorry, real-time strategy. It's
Yeah, I thought it was an RTS.
yeah.
Yeah, early RTS.
It had oil as a resource so you could make naval units. It was dope. Wipeout. That's a yes. 'Cause
Wipeout's
cool
an incredible-
futuristic racer.
Incredible future racer genre.
Worms, all of us put discuss.
Yeah.
Because we need to talk about the fact that this is the only Worms game on the list.
Yeah. So first off, this is the only Worms game on the list, and it is not the best. And in fact, it is one of the worst because the original Worms is not good. They hadn't figured out like how to make the controls like really good yet, and Worms 2 was a massive improvement. And then not as massive, but then the move to Worms Armageddon was essentially like Worms Armageddon is essentially like
Peak series.
it's not just peak series, it's basically peak artillery game.
Yes.
It still holds up. Worms Armageddon's incredible. They keep making Worms games and they're basically just Worms Armageddon again.
Yeah.
They even said, like, when they made the most recent 2D Worms game, we were like, yeah, we went back to the fans and everybody really likes Worms Armageddon. So we tried to dredge up the source code, which they could only find parts of, to try and figure out how to make the games as good as Worms Armageddon was. And I still think they basically failed. The core artillery gameplay of Worms Armageddon is absolutely the peak of the series.
Perfect physics.
If they
Ninja
can
World.
somehow figure out a way to like one-to-one remaster it, just so it'll run better on modern systems.
Okay, no, dude, they keep releasing patches for Worms Armageddon. The most recent patch for Worms Armageddon was released in like 2021.
Really?
Yeah. The game
Windows 11
supports
support coming soon.
the game supports like 4K resolutions and like interpolation and like it literally like interpolates frames now to get high frame rates. Like the game was perfect and they seem to have recognized that. Every once in a while they're like, oh yeah, we could just like bring it up. I think they included like some kind of Twitch integration thing. Like literally the game's perfect, Worms Armageddon. But the original Worms is super old and rough and hadn't figured out the details yet. Another thing I just wanted to mention, I'm not sure why there's another game that arguably is a lot more influential in the artillery genre, which is Scorched Earth.
Yeah,
But
that's a good one,
Scorched Earth is shareware and wasn't really released commercially. And I get the feeling that's why it's not really included on these lists somehow.
Yeah, because for example, there's no Minesweeper on this, and that's a travesty.
Yeah.
Space Cadet Pinball.
Yeah,
like,
just all those Windows and games that have kind of bundled
Ski
with
free.
Windows.
yeah, like there's a lot of examples of like older, very good at the time, very influential games that are simply not on this list for who knows what reason. And again, this list is unfocused and has no general theme.
Yeah. Next, we've got Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. I put down discuss for this, though I probably should have just put down yes. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of this game, but it's pretty cool. It's a big Yoshi game.
It's pretty cool. I mean, Nintendo was still willing to just make something totally different than what people wanted.
Yep.
And that's kind of interesting, you know, and it's weird, but
Yeah.
the whole game's kind of an escort mission, I guess.
Okay. No. All right. Next, Civ 2. That's some improvements to Civ.
I said yes, just because, again, Civ is such a great series that kind of defined the 4X genre on PC, and Civ 2 was a big step up from Civ 1.
Yeah.
Like, I think probably Civ 1 to Civ 2 was the biggest jump, although Civ 3 to Civ 4 was also... That's a thing. Each of them from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 were all big improvements. Mm-hmm. After 4, it's minor.
5 is a big... It's a big change.
It's a big
Maybe not an
change.
improvement,
I don't know that 5 was a big improvement.
Okay, next we've got Command & Conquer Red Alert. That's 3 yeses.
Yeah.
Next, Duke Nukem 3D. Alex said no.
No, Duke Nukem, I don't think Duke Nukem was ever really that good. I'm thinking like, it was popular just because it's edgy. That's really about it.
Duke Nukem 3D also had multiplayer, like network multiplayer.
Did it?
Which is why I think people like it. So, I don't know.
I normally associate early 3D shooters that have multiplayer with things more like Quake.
Yeah, which hasn't shown up yet.
I guess that, yeah.
Maybe it was the
Duke-
same year. Maybe
Maybe
came out
Duke Nukem
the year
3D was
afterwards,
more ahead of its time than I give it credit for.
But whatever.
I thought it was just
Duke Nukem
kinda-
sucks.
Yeah.
Next, Nights into Dreams. I put down no. Alex put down yes. Nights into Dreams is a bad game.
You know what? No, fuck it. I don't know what I was thinking with this one. I haven't actually really played it. It seems different. Fuck it. I don't care.
Next, Parappa the Rapper. I put yes. Alex put down no because he hates fun.
Yeah.
I mean, early example of a rhythm game on a console. I had to give it credit for that.
Yeah, okay.
So
I guess it is an early rhythm game. I like rhythm games. I didn't like
it's got
that
Top
rhythm.
Top Master Onion.
I didn't like that rhythm game. But...
Kick Punch. It's all in the mind. Next is Pokemon
Why
Red
the
and Blue.
fuck did I put no here?
Yeah, like
what?
That makes zero sense. I was about to say, like, this is going to be the most hottest take of the entire thing. I thought you were going to go off.
Is it easily the most dated Pokemon? Are they the most dated Pokemon games? Yes, but they still deserve their spot on the list.
Yes.
Yeah, they deserve the spot for historical reasons, even though Gen 2 was better in every possible way.
Yeah.
It's still, to me, the biggest improvement between generations of Pokemon.
Yeah.
Agreed. Next is Quake. That's an obvious yes from everybody. So I guess that it was the same year as Duke 3D.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking, Quake was absolutely iconic for, the Quake Arena multiplayer.
Color
Yeah.
lighting, too. All the technical stuff with
yeah,
Quake is
some
like
big technical
a whole other
improvements.
discussion. Okay, next is Resident Evil. I put down yes, as well as everybody else.
I just started playing the first Resident Evil 2 weeks ago, and I've been really enjoying it.
Do I think any survival horror game deserves to be one of the considered best games ever? No, but this is one of the early iconic examples.
Yeah,
so I said yes.
I said yes because it's iconic and sort of popularizing that genre, though I think actually there's way, way better examples of games that do that.
Okay, Super Mario 64. I hate this game. It's one of the greatest of all time, just like Super Mario World.
Yup.
Tekken 3. I put down yes. I'll abstain. Matt said discuss.
Yeah, I recently went back to I guess for the time, yeah, but I recently played
Okay.
a little bit of this on my PlayStation 1 Classic, and I was like, I don't like this.
You were playing the 50 hertz version. Which may have something to do with it. If you
Okay.
thought it felt sluggish at all, it's entirely the fault of the people at PlayStation that are making decisions only seem to be from Europe. But Tekken 3 had Eddie Gordo in it, so it's great. Tomb Raider. Alex put down yes. The original Tomb Raider.
I haven't actually played the original Tomb Raider, but I am fairly sure it was essentially groundbreaking in the sense that 3D platforming at that era was groundbreaking, and this was on the PC.
Yeah, but this wasn't good. I put down abstain. Because
I don't know.
I've seen so little of it, and what little I've seen hasn't impressed me, but I don't know.
Maybe
if I'm
I should have-
judging it harshly. I don't know.
Maybe I should have said abstain. I just kind of said yes because I think it's iconic enough that it deserved a spot, but I don't fucking know.
Okay, next, Wave Race 64. Alex put down no.
No. Wave Race 64 was not actually a good game.
It has one of the best announcers in video games, though.
Okay, fair.
But okay, fine.
But
I mean, I only put down abstain because I never really played it.
Honestly, I feel like this is only here because it was wasn't it one of the 2 launch titles for the N64?
It's the same year as Super Mario 64. So maybe.
I swear the launch titles for the N64 were Super Mario 64 and Wave Race 64, and Wave Race 64. At the time, people were like, "Oh, it's 3D. It's a racing game. It's totally a new thing. It's got water." But the game's not actually good.
Okay, fair enough. Next, Wipeout 2097. Alex put down yes.
I just
Haven't
said
played
yes.
This Wipeout game, but you like Wipeout.
I like Wipeout.
Yep. Next, Age of Empires. Hell yeah.
Yep.
After that, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, the other part of the Metroidvania. This game's awesome. Some of the best sprite art and animation of the time. It's one of the reasons that I'm so pissed that everybody went to 3D. Not enough people made 2D games for those systems. So there was just after Symphony of the Night, there was gigantic dearth of no more pixel games except for fighting games up until indie games got popular.
Yeah.
Next, original Diablo. A couple yeses.
Yep.
Original Fallout. Alex says yes.
I mean, the original Fallout's great. It still holds up. It is completely different. Fallout 1 and Fallout 2 are not even remotely close to what Fallout is now.
Yeah, and we've said enough words about how much we dislike modern
Yeah, I love Fallout
games that we can probably move on.
Fallout, I love it. Fallout 2, love it. Everything else, trash. Get out of my face.
Yeah.
I enjoy them to a degree.
Yeah, I guess you weren't on those episodes where we mercilessly tore into them.
Yeah, if you want to hear all about how we...
how two of us hate Fallout, and there's many other episodes.
how much fucking problems we have with Fallout.
They're
It's in the
Elder
archives.
Scroll reskins.
Yeah.
I don't like those either.
Next, Final Fantasy Tactics. That's 3 yeses. I'm not sure why you two put yes.
I have played it. It's a great tactics game.
I haven't, but I recognize that it's popular.
Final Fantasy 7, 3 yeses. GoldenEye 007, 3 yeses.
Yep.
Original Gran Turismo. I put down yes. Alex put down yes, probably because it's the first one, but I think Gran Turismo 2 is like miles better.
I haven't played many of the Gran Turismo games. I actually really disliked them. And I also didn't have a PlayStation, but I recognize that they kind of were pioneering in the console simulation racing genre.
Yeah. Okay, next, Grand Theft Auto. Alex put down yes. I put down disgust because the original Grand Theft Auto is extremely weird and I don't think should be on here.
That's probably fair. I also wasn't exactly sure which one this was referring to because I was going through the list so quickly. The top-down 2D ones, which is I think what this is, are extremely weird.
Yeah, they're like kind of fun, but I wouldn't say they're some of the best.
They're not
games ever.
greatest games of all time, and they absolutely don't deserve to be on this list.
Quake 2, a couple yeses. Star Fox 64, I put down no. It was just Star Fox again, in my opinion. I don't think it really did anything crazy good.
I'd say,
The original.
I'd say, yeah, arguably it is just Star Fox again from the SNES, except the SNES one, though technically impressive for the time, was still quite limited, and Star Fox 64 is basically the same game, but better in every way. Better graphics, better controls, better sound, it's just better.
Star Wars Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2. Alex put down yes.
The Star Wars Jedi Knight games are actually incredible. They're incredible games. I really like them.
Okay. Total Annihilation.
I'm sure if Sean was here, he'd start going off about the Jedi Knight games.
Probably, yeah. Yeah. So Total Annihilation, a couple yeses.
One of my favorite RTS series.
Nice.
Yeah, it's got some... it's probably the biggest scale RTS series by far.
One of, yeah. Definitely.
Almost too big.
Next, Ultima Online. We already kind of went into why
this
deserves
we talked
to be
about
on
that
here.
earlier in the podcast.
Next, Dance Dance Revolution. That's a resounding yeses from all three of us.
Yep.
Which is really funny to me.
I don't think any of us have actually really played it much, but it's recognizable.
Yeah, I played a little bit.
Groundbreaking of an idea it is.
You haven't lived until you've stepped on a dance pad that's hooked up to PS1. It's so crazy.
Just watching videos of people who are playing using both pads on the machine at the same time. It's just you go, King.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Fallout 2, again, I'm the only one that didn't abstain, and I said yes. If you actually go and look at Fallout 2 has better animations than the most recent Fallout games.
Yep.
Which is, frankly, embarrassing. That's an embarrassment to the people making the Fallout games today. Fallout 2 is incredible.
Next, Grim Fandango, old adventure games. Alex says yes.
Oh, the music in Grim Fandango is so good, too.
Everybody loves mariachi. Next, original Half-Life. Never played it myself, but I put down yes, as well as everybody else.
I haven't played myself, but I have played
Black Mesa?
Yeah.
Yeah, Black Mesa is just a modernized version of it.
And they expand upon Zen a bit more at the end, too.
The other thing, Half-Life is incredible, but it pretty much invented the idea of telling the story without having the cutscenes be cutscenes and making it all just in the gameplay. So,
next, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Yep.
First 3D Zelda.
Absolutely killed it. I could talk at length about it.
Yep.
It's great.
Next, Metal Gear Solid. Yeses all around. This was a good year. Next, Panzer Dragoon Saga, which
none of us have played.
Isn't this Is this the one that's like extremely rare and like nobody actually has played, like almost nobody has played a physical copy of?
I have no
I don't
idea.
know, but whatever. I don't really know Panzer Dragoon that much. Next, Resident Evil 2, couple yeses. People seem to like that one. After that, Soul Calibur, great 3D fighter, weapon fighter, good stuff.
Yep.
I much prefer Soul Calibur to Tekken.
Same. After that, StarCraft, it's a country's national sport, so yep. Next, Suikoden 2, I put down yes. The Suikoden series is really dope and underrated, so I'm glad to see that a Suikoden entry is here. 2 is probably the best one. I haven't played much of it, but I've beaten the first one. Thief, The Dark Project, Alice says yes.
Yeah, I mean, this was pioneering in the stealth genre, basically. And the stealth, like the 3D kind of action stealth genre is... I mean, I guess Metal Gear Solid is on this list for basically the same reason, but Metal Gear Solid is on here because it was the pioneering stealth game for the PS1. Thief was the pioneering stealth game for the PC.
Cool. Next, Age of Empires 2, hell yeah.
Yep.
After that, EverQuest, MMOs. It's not going to be the first one on here. After that, Homeworld.
Yeah, Homeworld's incredible.
Yep.
It's on my greatest games of all time list. If you want to hear more about it, go check out like the
Episode 5.
the first few episodes of the podcast.
I said yes just because of what I've heard from Alex.
Yep. Planescape Torment. Alex says yes.
Yeah, I haven't actually played it, but no. But people love it because the writing is incredible in this game. Everyone's probably seen screenshots just of the writing in this game. Also, I think it actually had something with like a quote unquote morality system. I think that was actually good. And of course, it's super old.
That's impressive.
But I might be actually confusing it with a different Planescape game because they've done more than one. But
okay. Next, Pokemon Gold and Silver.
Resounding yes.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Next, Quake 3 Arena, the Quake game that modern multiplayer Quake is still based off of, basically. So hell yeah. Shenmue. Shenmue. Okay, Alex abstained. Matt put down no. I put down discuss. Now, okay, Matt, why, pray tell, do you think Shenmue doesn't deserve to be on a game considered the best?
It's so slow. It's just not enjoyable to me.
Yeah.
But I will say, Yakuza probably would not exist if not for Shenmue.
That's pretty fair. And that's the thing. That's why I put down discuss, because I think this is maybe like the highest discrepancy between quality of game and how much it deserves to be on this list for me. Where I think Shenmue is a terrible game, but it 1000% deserves to be on this list because of how it defines sandbox.
I can agree with that. Yeah.
And don't get me started on Shenmue 2. That's even worse. Next is the original Silent Hill. I put down yes. Alex put down no. I only put down yes because people like survival horror games, and this is one of the first examples.
Yeah, I don't think the first one was actually like that good though. But
People love 2. I know that much.
Yeah, I haven't actually played any of them. It didn't seem like it did anything particularly. I don't know. I don't really know much about it. Fuck it.
Sure. Next, System Shock 2. Me, Alex says yes. Okay. So yeah, next Unreal Tournament. Couple yeses.
Yep.
After that, Baldur's Gate 2.
You know what? I don't know enough about this game. I probably was going too fast when I said yes to this one.
Okay, that's probably 3 abstains there.
abstains.
I've heard good things about Baldur's Gate, but yeah, I know nothing about it.
After that, Counter-Strike. Yep.
Absolutely iconic, and I hate it.
Yep. It's okay.
It's fine, but it's like
Yeah.
it's not actually that enjoyable for me.
Next, original Deus Ex. Yep. People love that game. After that, Diablo 2. Best Diablo game. 3 yeses. After that, Jet Set Radio. I'm abstaining here because I recognize its soundtrack is amazing. I don't know if the game is good.
It's basically like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, except it's just like rollerblades and rad street art.
Yep.
After that, Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Alex and Matt put yes. I put down no. This game is inscrutable. I could not get anywhere playing this game as a kid. I could not get anywhere playing this game as a teenager. Okay? I couldn't figure out where the hell to go. Cool that they decided on a different structure, but I don't like time pressure in games, and again, I just couldn't figure it out.
It's the weirdest Zelda game, I think.
Yeah.
But it's good.
I wasn't able to make like a major progress until I played the 3DS version. And I did beat that. I did enjoy it. But yeah, it's the time constraints are...
Divisive.
Yeah.
Let's say that.
Yeah. Yep. All right, next we got The Sims. And
Absolutely.
The
Yep.
Sims is absolutely groundbreaking. And which is funny because it's kind of stupid, but
Yeah.
it actually, like, the original Sims was legitimately groundbreaking.
Yeah. It's like they had, Sim City, Sim Golf, Sim Helicopter, Sim Ant, so many sim games. And it's just, what if you just simulate playing a person?
Yeah.
So, really crazy.
The best thing to come out of The Sims, though, like, it might just be patch notes.
Oh,
Like, for the
patch
modern...
notes
Just
for the
Sims games
so
patch
good.
notes.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, Thief 2 The Middle Age.
Yeah, again, it's just, PC stealth genre. A very iconic entry that, like, moved that genre forward.
All right. Next, Tony Hawk's at Pro Skater 2. This game rules.
Yeah. This is easily the best, like, trick-based scoring video game, I guess. Which, like...
Well, Tony Hawk's 3, but...
Okay, wow.
3 is a better game, but yeah.
Yeah,
Two and 3 are both great.
Which is why I'm disappointed that after the remaster Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2, that studio got, like, dissolved or some
Yeah.
shit.
Well, they put some mechanics from 3 into that game anyway, so...
I would have liked to see some of the stages from 3, though.
Yeah.
Next, Advance Wars. Fuck yeah. It's the worst one.
Yeah, this is the only
Well,
Advance
okay,
Wars on
it's-
the list, and the first one is the worst one.
Well, I mean, if you consider the entire Famicom Wars series, then, it's not the worst one, but...
That's fair.
In terms of games that start with Advanced Wars, it's the worst one, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just happy that a game made it on the list.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, arguably, I think, like, peak of the series is probably either 2 or DS, but the other thing is, like, and again, this list is weird, because, like, some of the earlier ones are actually way more groundbreaking. Like, the fact that they had, like, a turn-based strategy on the original Famicom with Famicom Wars is kind of nuts to me, but the game was only released in Japan, and no one fucking knows it exists.
So it's not allowed to be on this list.
Yep.
Next, Animal Crossing. Me and Alex said yes.
Yeah, I'd just say yes, too.
Okay. Yeah, just like, it shouldn't have worked, but it does.
It shouldn't have worked, but it's like, what, the highest sales of game over the pandemic or something?
Something like that, yeah. Next, original Devil May Cry. Map to discuss.
I just don't think the first one's that... Like, I understand the... like,
I think it's the only one from the series on here, isn't it?
3 is on here
Okay,
as
well, whatever. I just said yes because it's, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
same.
it's
Whatever.
God's place here.
It's one of the first examples of character action game that I can think of.
Yeah,
So,
and
sure.
it's not 2.
Exactly, yeah. Final Fantasy X. Me and Matt put no, Alex put yes.
I don't know. You know what?
That's an uninformed opinion from you,
I
Alex.
Listen, I don't know which ones are which. I assumed this was one of the ones where it was meaningful. Clearly, I was wrong.
It was the first one with voice acting.
That's not good enough.
That's not a good reason.
That's not good enough.
yeah,
I changed mine to a no.
I did enjoy 10, but I don't think it's
yeah,
got
I'm
got
changing
place
Alex's to a no just so that I think this is the first one where all of us say no because this game sucks. I hate this game. Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec, incredible soundtrack. Alex put yes for some reason, but this should be abstained for everybody.
I probably should have abstained. I'm just assuming it was important.
Yeah.
I don't like simulation style racing games, and I don't really I didn't own a PS1 or PS2, so I'm like, whatever.
Okay. Next, Grand Theft Auto 3. I put down abstain because I haven't actually played it.
If there's any Grand Theft Auto game that is actually deserving of being like a revolutionary title, it's Grand Theft Auto 3.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's the first 3D Grand Theft Auto, which is like, it's very, very important in like defining the kind of open world genre.
Yeah. But this is an example where a later game in the series is arguably much, much better.
Oh, absolutely.
And
the original Grand Theft Auto 3, although it kind of pioneered that like style of the 3D like Grand Theft Auto games, it's easily the worst one.
Yeah. Next, Halo Combat Evolved. 3 yeses. Hell yeah.
Yep.
Next is Ico. Eco, however you pronounce it. I put down abstain. Alex said yes. Matt said discuss.
It's a hand-holding simulator. I enjoyed it. I don't really think it belongs on here, though.
I can't even... I think I might be getting this confused with a different game.
Okay, let's move on. Ikaruga. Ikaruga's dope. 3 yeses. Max Payne. Alex put down yes.
So, I think this might have been the first game with bullet time.
It called it bullet time. It's where the phrase originated.
Yeah. Yeah, so, like, I think that's worth a spot.
Yeah. Slow motion. Added to games. Hell yeah.
Listen, slow motion's dope.
Next, Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty. Alex and Matt put yes. I put down no.
I haven't actually played this one, but isn't this considered the best in the series by a lot of people?
People make arguments for like every game in the Metal Gear series.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And I didn't think this game... This game is ridiculous, okay? This game is peak Kojima. In my opinion.
That sounds like a reason for it to be on this list, then.
I don't know about that. Metal Gear Solid 2 did a bunch of like very like weird, crazy things where Kojima went like super detailed with there's ice on the table and it like melts in real time. It's just like shitty, like dumb little mechanical things that are in this game. But I don't think it's actually a very good game. I think Raiden sucks.
From what I understand, that is a popular opinion.
Yeah. And like, I don't know. I think people remember the moments, the crazy moments of this game, which are like pretty, insane, like, fighting the president on a rooftop, or not Raiden being naked, or I Need Scissors 61. But the actual gameplay, you're just like kind of going around this oil not tank. Well, originally it's a tanker, but then like this kind of oil rig looking thing, and I think the environment and just like what you're doing, I don't think it's very good, but. We'll move on to an awesome game that we all said yes to, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney.
Yep. Incredible game.
Yep. Next is Rez. Alex put down yes. People like Rez. I haven't played it.
I tried to play it on an emulator, and unfortunately it's not the same on that, because it actually has... I think it had a physical piece of fucking...
Yes. A trans vibrator.
Yeah. I don't know how that part worked, but it's a super cool looking game, and... I think it was one of the earlier examples of kind of the style of these rhythm games to just have like kind of the sort of abstract...
It's a rail shooter.
But it's also a rhythm game.
Kind of. Yeah.
Like, it's weird. It's weird and interesting, and I'm just like, sure, fuck it,
all
whatever.
Right. Silent
Give
Hill
it a
2. Alex said yes.
I don't know why I
said
said...
earlier.
You know what? Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know much about it.
Super Smash Bros. Melee, hell yeah.
Yep.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, hell yeah. Battlefield 1942, Alex said yes.
I said yes.
I never played it.
Yeah, same.
This is the only Battlefield representation on the list, though.
That's why I said yes. It's the only Battlefield on the list. And Battlefield is a series, I think, at least one of them deserves to be on this list. I'm not actually sure that it's 1942. Personally, my favorites are, we've talked about this before, but Bad Company 2 and 2142, which have like kind of very different gameplay. But
and Battlefield 2, I think, is arguably more iconic. But as
Battlefield 2 is like, if I was going to pick one, if only one went on a best game list, Battlefield 2 is probably the one that actually deserves it the most, just for being actually somewhat innovative. But
yeah,
Battlefield 1942 is the first one, and I think it's on this list because of that.
Yep. The next is Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, which Alex put yes, which surprises me.
I hate it, but it also established the formula that they're still using. Like, basically, exactly, for all of the other games that they keep making.
The only reason I'm okay with this is that Patrick Stewart is in it.
Nope, that's Oblivion.
Yeah.
That's Oblivion?
Yeah.
Shit.
But yeah, I mean,
Morrowind sucks.
Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim, and the Fallout games are all exactly the same game. The game hasn't changed since Morrowind.
They haven't changed up the formula.
No, but I mean, that's all. That, like, in my view, I think that game is like deserving of a spot for its influence, even though I don't like the formula. If that makes sense, that's why I said yes.
Sure. Next is Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem. Alex and Matt abstained. I put down discuss. This was the GameCube kind of survival horror-esque game with all the sanity effects that tried to fuck with you, where it would just like say like bullshit about your memory card and stuff like that.
Metal Gear Solid already did that, though.
Was this not a first-party Nintendo title?
No, this was made by Silicon Knights, the same people who made 2 Human, and got sued out of existence by
2 Human was supposed to be a trilogy.
Epic, yeah. They had problems with the Unreal Engine. Yeah, the reason I put discuss is that people remember this game fondly because of those sanity effects and just like how the game tried to mindfuck you all the time, but I don't know if it's actually a good game at all.
I
Probably
get
not.
the feeling it's not.
But it did one. Here's the thing: this is a game where I don't think it's iconic or influential. I think it has a gimmick.
I think that this is one of those games where we have to consider the structure of what makes a game includable on this list, which is that a variety of reasonably well-known critical publications liked the game. This is a game that I get the feeling was essentially a flavor of the month critic game, where the critics liked it because it did something new.
Probably, yeah.
And then so everyone gave it praise at the time for doing something kind of new, but it wasn't actually like doing something new that stuck. It was just sort of like this weird thing that was different enough.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Next, Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Wildly better than Grand Theft Auto 3.
Great licensed soundtrack.
Yeah.
And your character's not a mute.
Yeah. Awesome setting.
Yeah.
Great characters. Love the game. Next, Kingdom Hearts. 3 no's!
Yeah, no.
Kingdom Hearts is terrible. I didn't get off the first island.
This game feels like it's only here because it's popular.
I beat the first game. I did not care for. I did not care for the combat. I hear it gets a lot better in 2.
Yeah, well, this is Kingdom Hearts 1.
But I have no desire to go forward on this series.
All right, two Square Enix games getting all no's from us. Great, love it. Next is Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, resounding S.
Yep.
Yeah.
After that, Metroid Prime. I don't like it, but absolutely it deserves to be on here for making the. Some of these games are just like so iconic because they made the jump between a 2D franchise to a 3D franchise flawlessly. This is one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the exact same principle as the 2D Metroids, but it's in 3D.
Well, not just that, but everything about this game was executed like so perfectly. Like the music is incredible. The art direction in this game still holds up. Like you could play this game today and the game holds up. The environmental storytelling in this game is absolutely expert. Metroid Prime is incredible. Mm-hmm. I actually think it's still the best Metroid Prime game. Like they absolutely knocked it out of the park so hard that they've been unable to reach those heights since.
Cool. Next, Soul Calibur 2. It had Link in it. It was awesome.
Yep.
I've never played it, but yes.
It had a different. It had like on the it had Spawn on.
Yeah, bring that up and it'll knock its place off this list.
Oh my god.
Spawn on Xbox, Heihachi on PlayStation, which supposedly it was rumored that it was originally supposed to be Cloud on PlayStation, but
that would have made more sense.
Did not work out with Square Enix.
Yeah.
So of course it's a Bandai Namco game, so just pull one of their own characters for that Spawn instead. And sadly, the recent HD versions, like all versions of the game have Spawn and Heihachi in them, but there's no Link.
Of course not.
Like they couldn't even at the time they couldn't even do a Wii U release that had all 3 of them. That would have been cool, but sadly no.
All right. Next is Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell. I'm the only one that put yes here.
So I noticed there's a lot of Tom Clancy games actually on this list, like more than I expected, and I honestly don't even know why.
Well, Splinter Cell was another introduction of stealth on consoles in a way that wasn't, for lack of a better term, Japanese. The original Splinter Cell is a good game, and I think deserves to be on here. It's one of the few stealth games I've played and didn't immediately put down, and that says something.
Yeah.
Like, the stealth was pretty good in that game, I thought.
Yeah, the other thing about like the Tom Clancy games is that Tom Clancy isn't actually like a cohesive series of video games. It's just his name. Like Rainbow Six, completely different than Splinter Cell.
Yeah, Ghost Recon, completely different as well.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Okay, next, Warcraft 3, Reign of Chaos. Warcraft 3 is dope. People who think otherwise are dopers.
Well, not just that, but arguably incredibly influential for the modding scene.
Yeah, like, they took the custom maps of StarCraft and went ham with it because the hero units, this is the game that birthed MOBAs. So,
Yeah.
like, deal with that.
I mean, for its influence alone, it deserves a spot on this list.
Yeah, and I think that Warcraft 3 is also just a great playing RTS. Next is Beyond Good and Evil. Alex said yes.
Yeah, I really like this game. It was actually really good at the time. Kind of an interesting like 3D adventure game, but unfortunately, it doesn't really hold up anymore. Primarily because the game's buggy as hell.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I've never heard that before.
Well, I was playing the PC version, which might be part of my problem. But it was a very cool, like, kind of adventure game that was not so combat focused. And if you think about it, like an action adventure, a 3D action adventure game that isn't combat focused, like that was kind of like not as, even now, not really as common of an idea. So I think that's kind of why people liked it, is because it was a bit different in that way.
Okay. Next, F-Zero GX. This game rules. I love this game.
I feel like I need to play this game.
Yeah, I mean, I love future racers in general. It's a cool genre, and this is the best F-Zero game.
Yeah. I bet Dolphin could emulate real well.
Ooh.
The only F-Zero I've ever actually played is just a little bit of the original on the NES like library on the Switch.
Yeah. Okay, next, Max Payne 2, The Fall of Max Payne.
I said yes, but I think I was just thinking of the same bullet time thing from the first game. I think they also did some stuff with narrative. No, I think there's some, like the Max Payne series is funny because like we kind of forgot. I kind of forget why it was relevant and like liked at the time, but it did some things with unreliable narration, I think.
Okay.
That like really hard to do well in a video game in general, but it executed it like reasonably well, which is, I think, actually more. First of all, unreliable narration as a sort of literary trope is difficult to pull off in general, but I think it's even more difficult to do in a video game, and the Max Payne series does it reasonably well.
Okay. Next, Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time.
This is the best Prince of Persia game. No one can tell me otherwise.
I feel like I need to play it.
It's also one of the best like 3D combat platformers ever, I think. So.
Next is Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic. Alex and Matt said yes. I put down discuss because, like, yes, it deserves to be on here. I think the combat in that game is abysmal.
So here's the thing. Honestly, this game is not here. Knights of the Old Republic is not actually an incredible game mechanically. It's an incredible game because it absolutely nails the setting and the story. A lot of people would say that it's basically the best Star Wars like story actually ever told, because it really gets deep into sort of like how the like why that universe kind of works the way it does in a way that actually like is it explores the setting in a better way than the actual movies do.
Well, yeah, the actual movies have 2 hours of runtime to do it, whereas Knights of the Old Republic has a lot more.
Yeah, and it has great writing. And that's really why people love this game.
Yeah, I haven't played it, but I just had to say yes because of how beloved it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get that discuss out of here, meatbag.
Roger. Next, WarioWare Inc. Mega Micro Game.
Honestly, I don't even care about this game. I said yes for some reason. I don't know what I was thinking.
I don't even know if the WarioWare games are any good. I haven't played any of
They're
them.
fun, but they're not really.
The only one I play is bootleg Pictionary on Game & Wario.
Yeah.
Okay, next, Burnout 3 Takedown. Alex likes it.
Yeah, I can't remember if this was the first game to do like a fully destructible car, but it really nails it. And that's something that the Burnout series was actually kind of known for innovating on, is like just the destructible car physics, where your car takes damage and then starts to like have problems, and just visually actually like where you impact in a crash deforms that part of the car, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. Really, the Burnout series is all about the crashes.
Yeah, well, thank car manufacturers for that, for not liking their cars being smashed up in video games. That's why Burnout was able to get around it, because they didn't use licensed cars in most of the games.
That's correct, yeah.
Next is The Chronicles of Riddick, Escape from Butcher Bay. Alex put down no.
I mostly put down no because I assumed this was just some generic licensed
People
trash.
consider this the best licensed game of all time. Apparently, the game is incredible, and the movie is mediocre.
Yeah, the movie sucked.
So-
But the best licensed game of all time is competing with some games which are not on this list, which is the open world Spider-Man games, including Spider-Man 2, which should be on this list.
I need to look up Chronicles of Riddick, because I think the developer of this game is somebody of renown. Oh, it was developed by Starbreeze. Starbreeze also made Payday 2. And
Really?
And The Darkness. And a couple other things. I think they were also maybe making a VR headset, but that didn't work out. Whatever. Next is Dragon Quest VIII, our first Dragon Quest game here. Matt's the only one that said yes.
I haven't played. I just said yes because how beloved
Yeah.
8 seems to be.
Yeah, Dragon Quest is an iconic series.
Like,
that should
I
probably
think
be on
7 and 8 are beloved, but 7 isn't on the list for some reason.
here. I don't know. Next, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. I think even better than Vice City.
Yeah.
So
Definitely better mechanically.
good. Yeah. After that, Half-Life 2. Still never played it, but how can you say no to that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, one of the most revered games ever. After that, Halo 2. Online multiplayer. Let's go.
Yeah.
Everybody likes that.
Introduced that for console.
I mean, Half-Life 2 and Halo 2, they're basically there for the same reason of just being like iconic, like advancements of the FPS genre. One on console, one on PC.
There you go.
Also, just like for Halo 2, in terms of scale for the story, like it's just fantastic.
Okay, next is Katamari Damacy. You two put down yes, I put down discuss. Is that actually a good game? Or is it weird? And that's why people like it.
It's both.
It's weird. It's a weird, iconic game that is beloved, and I keep meaning to play it before my Game Pass expires in a couple weeks.
It's on Game Pass?
Yeah.
What
There
the
is
fuck?
there is no other game like Katamari Damacy. It's like aesthetically, it's incredibly weird, but mechanically, it's sort of a like interesting, like it's like a timed puzzle game. It's like a timed action puzzle. Like it's very, very unique, and also. My favorite part about the games is when you get to some of the later levels and you have this great scale transition where you just start rolling up like little things like tiny stuff in a room, and then it just gets bigger and bigger till you're rolling up cities and then rolling up continents and then rolling up like literal constellations, it's just hilarious. It's such a fun concept.
But one of the greatest games of all time. It's such a weird thing to try and say about the game.
Well, yeah.
So, when you just put your foot down. So I don't know.
I don't know. This isn't great.
That's why I couldn't say.
This isn't
yes or
greatest
no.
of all time. This is considered the best.
Whatever.
It's considered the best in its own genre, which no other game has.
Is it a weird game? Yes. Is it the weirdest pick for this list? No.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, next is Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. Alex put yes, I put down no. The reason why I put down no is different from Metal Gear Solid 2 for me, which is if this was Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence, I would put yes. But the original Metal Gear Solid 3, you couldn't rotate the camera.
Ooh, that's pretty bad.
Okay.
Change to no.
Yeah.
Change to no.
Like, the original, the first two games, I'm pretty sure you couldn't rotate the camera either. It was fixed camera angles, but Metal Gear Solid 3 was in like a jungle instead of buildings, so it made way less sense.
Yeah.
Which is why they added it later. But yeah, weird. But I mean, the plot in that game is silly. It's a prequel with all the same characters.
Yeah.
Very
Just silly Metal Gear Solid stuff.
All right, next we've got Rome Total War. Alex put yes. I put down
So
no.
I put yes just because
It's the Total War game.
innovated the the Total War games are basically their own subgenre of RTS that I don't like. But they are different and unique, and so I was thinking, well, it created a sort of different spin on the genre, which I dislike. But
Yeah, I
whatever.
don't like it at all.
But they're
I don't think the like 4X part of the game is good. I don't think the controlling the units tactically RTS stuff was good. I think it, at least in this game, I thought it was trash.
yeah. No,
It's the only
it is.
Total War game I played. If there were other Total War games on this list, maybe yes, but I don't think Rome Total War was any good.
No, I've played it. I played Rome Total War, and I agree with you. I really disliked the game, but I do think it did some new stuff that I just hated.
Right.
So I'm including it there for more like being innovative, and if it's innovative and popular, I'm just like, I guess that deserves a spot.
Yeah.
It's kind of what my thinking was anyway.
All right, next is World of Warcraft. Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah,
Has to be.
I am
Yeah.
not an MMO person at all, but like it has to be a yes. And I am really surprised with how recently it's been dethroned by Final Fantasy XIV.
So
I am
beautiful.
surprised 14 is not on the list.
Oh yeah, I guess it isn't.
This list gets really weird with the like more,
Later on, yeah.
Yeah, more modern
There's some
entries.
games that should be on here that aren't just because of recency.
Yeah, and there's some stuff I think that's on here that absolutely shouldn't be.
Yeah, and like Final Fantasy XIV is probably not on here just for the fact that its original release was a gigantic trash fire.
Yeah, but as of late, like there's no reason why it should not be on this list.
Agreed. Next, Call of Duty 2. Alex said yes.
I don't know why. I don't
no.
know why I said yes. That was an accident. Take it off.
Oh, well, whatever. After that, Civ 4.
Yes.
Civ 4 rules.
Okay, I thought I had said yes to this. I mean, like I've barely played any Civ, but yeah, I've got to recognize the greatness of Civ 4.
Yeah, it rules. Devil May Cry 3. Dante's Awakening. Matt said yes.
Considered by I'm gonna have to play this game on easy mode. I am horrible at this game.
Oh.
But like I recognize it's the fan favorite for a lot of people, and so it has to be a yes. It belongs on the list.
Yeah. Next, the first game entitled God of War on this list, which is a big abstain. None of us have played it.
Nope. And all I know about God of War is that it has a lot of QuickTime events, which are a bad concept.
Next is the creation of giant plastic instruments taking up space in your house.
Or in my case, in the trunk of my car, because my stupid plastic guitars are still in my car from one of the Guitar Hero games. Like, it was the next step in the DDR train of, instead of, pad to step on, like a facsimile of an instrument, and I think those games are awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, rhythm games in general are a lot of fun, and Guitar Hero had a great concept.
Yeah, the first Guitar Hero is actually bad, though. Like, the timing windows are really messed up.
Yeah.
But it's on here because it's the innovator.
I've been meaning to pick up a USB to Wii connector adapter so I can pull out my plastic Wii guitar and check out Clone Hero on PC.
I forget if I got it working through Bluetooth or not. I have some weird... I downloaded like 3 different drivers or something.
I don't want to worry about batteries in my Wii remote.
But you know what? Very, very good. Fair enough. Okay, next is Psychonauts. Alex said yes.
I said yes mainly because it's iconic and it's a bit different. Although when I played it, I thought it was just kind of average, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I've got to change my abstain to a yes too, just because of...
But I don't know. But like,
it is.
that's the thing. I have played it and I thought like, this is fine.
Yeah, so you should be a no.
So I should be a no. Yeah.
But whatever.
Like, I don't know that it's best. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it's like the best, but
After that, Resident Evil 4, some yeses. I put down disgust for a reason I'll get to actually when we're done. But yeah, people love this game.
Yep.
I mean,
And
I
it gets
like
released everywhere.
I like the Resident Evil games in general. Like, they're fun action games. They're not horror games, but they're I like RE4 is like good. Mm-hmm. Some of the earlier ones are pretty jank
And have great writing. Okay, next is Shadow of the Colossus, which I abstained and YouTube put yes.
This game is fantastic. And I say that despite having only played the shitty PS3 port.
Oh.
I've been meaning to play the proper remaster on the PS4, but like this game it's fantastic.
Yeah, the atmosphere in this game is great, and that's really like it's almost more of an experience. Like, it is a game, but like there's actually not that much gameplay, although like it's only bosses basically, and then
Yeah, it's Punch-Out.
it's Punch Out.
It's the same game.
It's a platformer boss rush because they're all giants
Yeah,
that you
but
have to climb.
But like,
So is every opponent to Little Mac. They're giants, he's small.
but like, it's a platformer boss rush that's
It's not
slow
okay,
and
yeah.
atmospheric.
It's not a boss rush.
It's a platformer.
It's a boss leisure.
Yeah,
Cruise
it's like a
or something.
platformer boss like walk,
Yeah.
atmospheric boss walk.
Love it. My favorite genre. All right. Next, we got Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. Alex put down no.
I just put no because I'm like, I've played this game and it's fine, but it's not. It didn't seem particularly innovative, iconic, or great.
Yeah, I don't know if it innovative enough past the original Splinter Cell for it to be on this list, and because I haven't played it.
I mean, it might be strictly better than the first one. Maybe, I don't know. Again, I think this was the one that Sean really liked on the GameCube, and I
think
was just
so.
like, I remember it being fine. That was it.
All right. Next is Company of Heroes.
Dawn of War should be here instead of Company of Heroes.
Is that the only reason that you put no?
That's probably the only reason. But also, I've played Dawn of War and Company of Heroes, and the thing is that Company of Heroes, for some reason, got a bunch more interest about like, oh, it's got this like territory control point pipeline system, and I'm like, it's basically the same as the Dawn of War one, except World War II instead of fucking Warhammer. And I liked Dawn of War better.
All right. I mean, I love Dawn of War, so sure. Next, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. 3 no's.
No.
I don't have the same disdain for these games as you guys, but I thought it was fine. But I don't think it belongs.
Again, I gave a yes to Morrowind only on the basis of Morrowind being the first. And all these other ones are the same, and I don't like them.
Plus, Oblivion has Patrick Stewart and Sean Bean.
Oh, it's got Sean Bean.
Yep, he's Patrick Stewart's son.
Oh, does he die?
Yes.
I mean, it's also got
I think, right at the end of the game.
it's also got Thomas the Tank Engine.
No, that's Skyrim.
Oh, is that Skyrim?
Yeah.
I mean, it's mods. I'm sure it could be both.
All right. Next is Gears of War. Gears of War is awesome. It's they innovated the cover shooter, kind of.
I don't know if
It popularized.
It popularized
There
it,
were a couple
yeah.
like bad cover shooters before this, but
That's the thing. I can't
This
think
was
of
popular.
I
It looked
can't-
amazing.
Yeah, I can't think of a cover shooter before it. Really?
I know one that like is cited as one of the first true cover shooters. I just forgot the name of it.
And you have a gun with a chainsaw on it.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah,
They
this
sold out
was.
for $40K.
I mean, Gears of War came out in like the peak of that sort of just like brown gritty era. Except this is one of the few games where the brown gritty aesthetic actually made sense.
But also gotta have a lot of bloom in there.
Oh, so much bloom. Yeah, brown gritty and bloom. Like this was the like brown gritty bloom defining game. Really,
One of my favorite co-op experiences.
Yeah.
it's a great co-op.
Love it.
Yeah. In terms of a co-op console shooter, like Gears of War series.
Like
is
I
way
played
up there.
through it co-op entirely with Matt, with
Yeah.
Sean, with Alex. Like
Yeah.
it's great.
We've got to check out 4 and 5 at some point.
Yeah. Hitman Blood Money. All abstains.
I've
play it.
not played any Hitman games.
Yeah.
I have no idea if they're deserving of anything.
Maybe the reboot might be. People
more
love
recent
that.
ones,
Yeah,
yeah.
people love that game.
I'm just not a
but I
fan
don't
of
know.
how they're episodic.
Whatever.
Okay. Next, Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. Alex and Matt said yes. I put down no. I think this is a fine Legend of Zelda game, but I don't think it does anything deserving of it being considered the best.
All right, so here's the thing. And
Other than Star Wars.
so here's the thing. Twilight Princess is good, but the Zelda series, I'm not sure if you noticed, every major entry of the series is on this list.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
just fucking love the Legend of Zelda games. They're incredibly popular. They're generally good. And because of that, there's always some publication somewhere that put any particular game on their top 100 list or whatever.
Yeah, but why did you put yes?
So because it's still good. I still like it. I think that we talked about this, it has some of the best boss fights in the series.
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember large portions of that game and I can't. That's one of the main reasons I put down no, is that that game came and went for me. I just can't remember it. I don't know why. So I can remember every temple in Link to the Past. I can remember most of the temples in Link's Awakening. I have no fucking idea about a lot of this like moment-to-moment stuff in this game. So that's why I put no.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of that is that aesthetically they didn't seem as differentiated because the whole game, again, this is the brown, gritty, and bloom era, and this game is the brownest, bloomiest, and grittiest Legend of Zelda game.
Yep.
Aesthetically. Which I actually think is maybe to its detriment, personally. Stylistically, it's actually my least favorite. Yeah, I don't know.
Sure. We'll leave it at I don't know. Next, Okami. I abstained because I haven't played it. But Alex and Matt, you both said yes.
I have not played it either, but just with how beloved it is, I feel it belongs on here.
Yeah, mostly it just seems like a really cool game, and I'm like, sure.
I keep meaning to check out the...
Yeah, I've been meaning to play it as well.
Okay.
I just haven't.
Next, Wii Sports. Yes is all around.
Yeah.
Great game. After that, Bioshock. An abstain and 2 no's.
No. Bioshock's
The only
bad.
reason I'm abstaining is because I haven't played it.
I played it to completion. I thought it was okay, but it's really carried by its aesthetic. So I don't think it belongs.
Yeah, no, this has some of the worst gameplay of like a supposedly good game that I've ever played. And I've talked at length about why I dislike this game on previous episodes.
Yeah,
so
and-
you can go check those
And
out.
on that episode where you went in depth, like, I completely forgot that you could just continuously throw yourself at enemies after death, just over and over, whittling them down until they're dead.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
think
like that.
I think this
I
game
completely forgot about that.
I think this game exclusively rode on people just like the aesthetic of the game, and that was it.
Yeah, I like the aesthetic, but yeah.
All right. Next, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Santo and Matt say yes. Alex says no.
It's just another like Middle Eastern military shooter.
No, it's the Middle Eastern military shooter.
It may be okay, so like of like
That's why it's called Modern Warfare. There actually was not very many
Yeah.
Modern Warfare games.
all the previous Call of
Counter-Strike's
Duties,
the closest you got.
the previous Call of Duties were all like World War II, were they not?
Yeah.
Or was there a World War? No, I don't think there was a World War.
I think I just got so sick of the genre that I'm just like, man, I just don't care. And from what I remember of playing this game, the only thing I know about it is that this was like the game that was super popular among people that everyone wanted to play, and it was just like, this game is just mediocre. I didn't like the controls. I felt that it wasn't actually very good. But I, in general, have never liked a controller for playing a precision shooter. And this is a precision shooter. Like, headshots are huge in this game.
Yeah.
And I just
still
don't
very
think the
short.
controller is the right tool for it.
But when everybody's using a controller, that's fine. If everybody's only using a pointed stick, then the battlefield is balanced.
Anyway, no, this was, I much prefer PC for playing a game like this, and that's why I didn't like it.
I mean, I don't particularly like Call of Duty either. I still put down yes because of 2 reasons.
This might be peak Call of Duty. I'll give it that. It might be the best. I know it's probably the most beloved Call of Duty. I just don't like those games.
Well, the 2 reasons why I think it should be on here is, 1, I think this was the first, this is one of the best examples of a PC speed shooter being on a console. The Call of Duty is much faster than Battlefield, Halo, a lot of shooters of the day, faster than Counter-Strike, I think, too. And 60 frames a second it ran at, too, which was actually the main reason why I didn't like Call of Duty. I thought it ran too fast. And it almost I wouldn't say it made me motion sick, but it just made me antsy in a way that I didn't like.
Like you just weren't used to those high frame rates yet.
Yeah. And the other thing is that it really modernized progression in shooters.
Yeah.
And the constant drip feed effect.
Is that actually a good thing, though?
I think long term it's been a bad thing, but there's a reason why so many people were addicted to this game and why it's one of the best selling shooters ever.
And then, even after you max out your level, you can prestige and start again from zero, and just so it's and that's
that tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah, so if you come across someone, it's they're 10th prestige, that they've either been playing a lot or they're a god.
Yeah. So I think it deserves to be on here, but that is another example of a game that I don't particularly like, but I recognize.
Also, Mile High Club is just an iconic level from this game as well.
That's true. This was one of the first true achievement games that was that's actually an achievement and not just shit seriously in Gears of War or the dumb zombie killing thing in Dead Rising where you just drive the car back and forth.
Yeah.
That's actually an achievement instead of a number that you have to hit. Next, God of War 2. We still haven't played God of War games. Next, Halo 3.
Yep.
Great game. After that is Mass Effect. Now, we've got an abstain from me, a yes from Matt, and a no from Alex.
Yeah, so I can't remember if I've talked much about Mass Effect specifically. I think I have, but I don't like those games. And again, if I were to summarize it, the controls are bad. I don't actually think that the systems in this game are good. It's an RPG, but I don't like it. And it's not, maybe I'm not a huge fan of...
It's not beloved because of the gameplay.
This is the Knights of the Old Republic argument again.
It's beloved because of all the writing.
The writing's not good, though. The writing's bad. The acting's awful. I've heard that Mass Effect 1 actually is the worst in the series, and I've only played Mass Effect 1. But
I hear 2 is the best. I just said yes because of how beloved it seems to be.
Yeah, and also, I, like a bunch of other games from this studio, it's buggy as shit. It has awful load times. You sit in an elevator forever. They try to use elevators to hide the load times, and it's the worst example of that I have ever played. Because the load times are so long, you have to wait in elevators forever. Especially because, I think when I played it, my computer wasn't that great. And holy shit, the game was just so bug-ridden. And, I actually think I ended up... I think I actually ended up dropping this game because it deleted all my save data.
Huh.
Which has happened several times with games that, what is it about fucking Western RPGs and just deleting all my save data?
It also doesn't run very... the original version also does not run very well on modern PCs. That has been fixed with the definitive collection, which I have, and I've been meaning to jump into and check out those games.
And I remember, this is one of these things where, people are all about the, sort of fucking morality system. No, the morality system in the game sucks. It's dumb. Fuck it.
I will say, might have some of the craziest fans, because, in the gap between 3 coming out after 2, there were some people who had saves where, they had, every possible type of save they could to go into 3. They had a double Paragon run, a double Renegade run, a Paragon Renegade run, a Renegade Paragon.
Renegon Paragade.
They just to see every conceivable way that game would
just
play
to be
out.
able to get to the end and pick an ending from 3 to 5 options.
Anyway, Mass Effect, people are talking about how it's this great sci-fi RPG, and I'm just you know what? No, it's not. You want a good sci-fi RPG? Go play Fallout 2.
Okay.
Granted, that's post-apocalypse. This is spacefaring. So slightly different thematically, but like
Just play the old Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic then.
then play
Game
Then play that
from the studio.
better.
Okay, next Portal. I think we can all agree on that.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Portal's incredible.
Next Rock Band.
Yep.
They added drums. It's pretty dope.
It's great.
Super Mario Galaxy. This is a 3D platform that I actually really fucking like, and is maybe one of the best examples out there.
Bouldergeist might be one of my favorite boss fights.
Yeah, so
Super
3
fun.
yeses. Team Fortress 2, 3 yeses, despite some of the things that's done.
So I have probably 400 hours in Team Fortress 2, and that game's incredible, but the game today is not the same.
Yeah,
And the game has continuously changed. I think initially, like, it was getting better. They were adding stuff, and then it started getting weird, and the game got fucked. They totally ruined some of their own design decisions, and
when they gave Demo Man a claymore and a shield, I think is when I'm like, this.
that's when it jumped the shark.
That's when it jumped the shark for me. Was the Demo Man update?
Yeah.
Okay. Next is The World Ends With You, Twooey, which Matt's the only one that's played.
Yeah, and I never beat it, but I had to say yes just because of how beloved this game is, and I get why it is. But yeah, it is a very beloved game by its fans. So.
All right. Next is Braid. Alex, but no. If you want to know why, go listen to our overrated games episode.
Yeah.
You pretty much systematically destroyed that game in that episode.
Yeah, I just went off on Braid, and yeah, in the overrated games episode, I have a pretty good breakdown of everything I hate about that game.
So
The worst offender is that the core platforming is bad. I don't care about anything else. If you're making a platformer and it's floaty and has low friction, you failed.
okay. Next, Burnout Paradise.
Burnout Paradise is, for me, it's the best open world racing game I've ever played. It's more of an arcade racer, which is my preference, and it's super fun.
Yep. I got the remastered version that I still have to play. After that, Dead Space. Alex, Matt, say yes.
Yeah, I like the first Dead Space. It really went off the rails with 2.
I have not played much of it, but I've watched 3 Let's Plays.
It's also not scary. I don't think it's a scary game. It's a fun action game.
Yeah.
All right. Next is Fable 2. We all say no.
I enjoyed it, but it's not best game.
No.
Worthy.
When playing it like multiplayer with you, I thought it was like kind of charming and interesting. But after seeing a Let's Play of it and realizing just how many of the systems are fucking broken, and how like when you die, you just like lose a bit of experience that you have, and then you just get back up. It's almost the same as like the BioShock problem, where like the core mechanics of this game are awful.
Now, this was one of those games where like it got really, really overhyped. Partly because Peter Molyneux intentionally overhyped it.
It's Peter Molyneux game.
And it never lived up, but people were happy with like what they got anyway for reasons I don't understand.
Yeah. First Fable's a better game, I think.
Yeah.
Next, Fallout 3. Everybody says no.
Yeah, I can't remember. We've talked about why I dislike that, and it's the same reason I dislike...
We've talked about why we dislike this game on like 3 separate episodes.
Yeah, we're not going to do it again.
Yeah, I don't have as much hatred for it as you guys, but like I feel like for most of these games, what carried me through them was achievement hunting.
Yeah.
Back on the 360.
That's a bad reason to play a game.
That was the era, yep. Okay, Gears of War 2. Alex and Matt said yes, I said no. Gears of War 2 added Horde mode, and that's cool. But the campaign in Gears of War 2 sucks. I didn't like it.
I mean,
I think Horde mode was much better done in Gears of War 3.
They all blend together in my mind, which is why I said yes.
Okay. All right, next, Grand Theft Auto 4. Me and Matt say no, Alex says yes.
It's good.
It controls like ass.
Driving is not
I mean, the
great.
driving does.
And it's not nearly as just fun to play as the other games.
And while it is the first GTA I finished to completion, it's kind of the beginning of just every, be it GTA or Red Dead, just the formula is the same, and it's just getting older and older as they continue using it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but come on, Nico, you want to go bowling? Also,
bowling was bad in that game.
Also, okay, one thing I really legitimately loved about GTA 4 though is that the fucking TV commercials
Those were
in
GTA
GTA
very
4
good, yes.
were absolutely hilarious.
And it made the super serious story that they were telling seem extremely incongruous.
Yeah, the game had a tone issue for sure.
Yeah.
GTA 5 is definitely better though.
All right, next is Left 4 Dead. Alex and Matt say yes, I say no. I don't think the first Left 4 Dead had enough content.
Really? I thought the funny thing is, yeah, Left 4 Dead 2 added a lot more content, but I fundamentally thought it was a worse game because the level design was not as tight. Left 4 Dead did not have a lot of levels, but the levels that it did have, I thought were incredibly well designed for replayability. And I played a lot of that game because I ended up beating every campaign on the max difficulty, which is quite challenging.
Oh, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's extremely bullshit.
The only way to do it is to basically get a team of 4 people who are all very good at the game and get on voice chat to like communicate strongly, because you will just die if you don't have like 4 actually good players.
I also think the first one had a better cast of characters.
Oh, yeah, I like the characters in the first one. For sure.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like the characters were a lot better in the first one. The level design I thought was a lot better in the first one. The second one added more stuff, but I thought basically everything they added was worse.
I like the scavenge mode in the multiplayer. That was fun.
Oh, and the second one?
Yeah.
Yeah, the scavenge mode was fine.
I did like the addition of the melee weapons.
I don't remember if that was out
I
at
like the melees
release.
as well.
Yeah, the melee weapons were fine.
Scavenge was at release.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Because they added a couple modes to the Left 4 Dead 2 like post-release, and I can't remember.
Well,
some of them
they added them in the stupidest way possible, which was they released like, all right, we're going to release this type of multiplayer mode for like a week, and then you're going to be able to vote on if it's permanent or not. And the first one they did was realism multiplayer, and realism is the worst way to play that game. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Again, I don't like my health constantly draining. That doesn't make something fun. It makes it a chore.
Yeah, it also doesn't... I don't think that makes sense anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, so I guess we're going to disagree on that, but that's fine. Next, Little Big Planet. Alex put yes. I put no. Have you played this game, Alex?
Yeah, I own it. I actually own 1 and 2 on the PS3.
And you don't think that the platforming is some of the worst you've ever had in this day and age? You were just saying about how brain is floaty.
I know.
This is the floatiest thing I've ever...
I know. I think the reason I liked Little Big Planet had less to do with that and more to do with the fact that it's like a nice co-op game I could play with other people.
Sure.
Co-op platformer. I don't know. Also, there was a lot of like legitimately fun like user-created content. But yeah, the core platforming does annoy me in that game. But I don't know. This is one of those games that I feel like the reason it's on this list is because the PS3 fundamentally didn't have games, and this was one of the few games that it had. And so everyone was like, oh, it's the best platformer on the PS3!
PS3 had games.
Name any good platformer on the PS3.
Any good platformer?
Yeah. This is a platformer. What's the better platformer on the PS3 than this game?
I can't think of any because the PS3 wasn't a system for platforms.
Exactly. That's why this game's on the list.
Okay.
It's the best PS3 platformer.
Name a platformer on the 360.
Braid, which I hate. I don't know.
There you go. Okay.
Doritos Crash Course.
I think the other problem... Fuck. Yeah, Little Big Planet came out during a drought of platformers, I think is the other thing. And so it kind of got a bit of a pass by default.
Yeah. Okay, next is Persona 4. Alex says yes.
I just said yes because I assumed you guys wanted it on the list. I don't even know anything about
Matt said
it.
yes.
I should have just abstained.
I don't think it's one of the best games ever made.
I thought you loved it.
I haven't played Persona 4.
Okay, see, I
watched two separate Let's Plays and a lot of Matt playing it, but I haven't actually played it myself because I think that fundamentally the Persona games aren't... I think they're overrated, actually. I think the dating sim parts of those games are incredible. The character stories, like the time management, I think all that is great. I think the actual dungeon crawling of the Persona games is not very good. Whenever I had to actually go...
How much of a dating sim is this game exactly? Because I have no idea.
It's like
really?
Yeah. Like, most of the game is you, like,
I was just
improving
throwing
some stats.
I'm just
and-
throwing yeses out like left and right for no good reason.
Like, I like the franchise, but I don't think it's the most deserving one of being on the list.
No.
Anyway, I think it's funny that you said you were generous with the yeses, and I ended up being even more generous.
Well, I was super generous in the early beginnings because those are things that I think were, yes, they were actually defining. But once you get into like PS1 and PS2, I became way harsher because I've actually played games of that era.
Yeah.
And for Persona 4, the Persona games do something that I think is fundamentally something I don't like in RPGs, which is when you're in random encounters, they shouldn't be like solved after like the second time you played them. And the Persona games are so focused on you hitting the enemy's weaknesses to, get through them that like you have to do that in a lot of cases, I found. Especially on like the harder difficulties. So it limited you in a weird way. I don't know. It's just not my favorite style of RPG combat. I'll just put it that way.
Because you have to like know the like weaknesses.
Well, when you hit a weakness in the Persona games, it knocks the enemy down and you get another turn.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a huge.
Yes, that's huge.
That's
so
ridiculous.
You pretty much have to be doing that, and it's just not the kind of RPG combat.
That's weird.
I'm a huge fan on, but I know that it's one of Matt's favorite games.
4 is actually, of the mainline Persona games I've played, 3, 4, and 5. 4 is probably my least favorite.
Okay. Rock Band 2, I abstained because I don't know what Rock Band 2 added over Rock Band 1 that is like super insane, other than,
Didn't it add vocals?
No, original Rock Band had vocals.
Oh.
Rock Band 2, I think, gets more love because they went more ham with downloadable content for Rock Band 2. I think that might be it, but I don't know.
I just love singing Master Exploder.
It's
on expert vocals.
Yep.
And getting in the low 90%.
Yeah. All right, next is Spelunky. Alex put down yes. I put down no.
Yeah, I should have put down no. I don't think
I think this game's pretty overrated.
Yeah.
It's good, but it's one of the best. No, like this was like everybody's first roguelike, I guess. Which is why
I would change it to a no, honestly.
Okay, Street Fighter 4. Alex and Matt put yes. I put down discuss.
It's one of the few Street Fighters I've actually like played more. I think because Matt had it.
No, I believe it was.
I had Super Street Fighter 4, which is why I put down discuss, because I think this is a game like kind of. It's sort of the same as Street Fighter. My argument for Street Fighter 2, but I think it's like worse here, where Super Street Fighter 4 is way better than the original.
Yeah.
In like every way, more characters. They're all unlocked at the start, so you can actually play with your friends. All the characters, way more interesting.
But it was kind of the revival of fighting games, because up until that point,
it absolutely was.
They were in a drought.
Yes. So I think it deserves to be on here, but Super Street Fighter 4 is enough better than it that I think that should be the entry here. Valkyria Chronicles. Alex and Matt says abstain. I have put discuss. And the reason I want to discuss is I have no idea how this is on this list.
Yeah, what is this game?
I like this game quite a bit. I have no idea that publications like this game. This is a Sega, really weirdly structured game where you have this map of a bunch of different units, and you have a different amount of action points. It's a turn-based strategy game where you use an action point to move a character around, full 3D movement, not tile-based at all, and first-person shoot shit. And you can make different units do multiple actions. There's tanks. It's alternate World War II stuff. But with some weird magical girl stuff later.
Yeah, I can't remember.
It's really cool. I really like it.
Was this on the GameCube? Because it does seem no.
PS3.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds familiar, but I really know.
You might be thinking of Valkyrie Profile.
Oh god.
But yeah, okay. We can move on. I don't think it's one of the best games ever, but I thought it's wild that it even showed.
It's definitely better than the next. It's definitely better than the next one.
What, Angry Birds?
Absolutely not. That does in no way does that deserve a spot on this list.
This game was made to distract kids.
This game is stupid.
All of these games, most of these games were made to distract kids. But okay, I abstained because I haven't actually played it. I don't know if like the touch screen controls and the physics are actually good or not. Like I think one important distinction to make here is that like some of these games, like if they're lesser, just because they're of lesser scope does not mean they're less deserving to be on here. So there's some mobile games that are on here that I think I put yes to. We'll have to get to them though.
Yeah, I mean,
I just haven't played Angry Birds.
I just don't like Angry Birds. It's not... The thing is, the game's bullshit. The game's total bullshit. Like, it starts off, like, way too easy, and it has a lot of levels, and then they just get, like, it's basically just random chance. Like...
Oh, like Peggle?
It's worse than Peggle, though. Like, Peggle's fun. Angry Birds, I felt, isn't. And I think the only reason it became popular is because it is actually a natural fit for a touchscreen. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not. I don't think it's the first game. It's definitely not the first game to do the like pull, essentially slingshot mechanics. Like, it's just a slingshot. It's essentially just a physics-based slingshot game.
Yeah.
And that's fine, but it just. I didn't actually think that the fundamental design of the levels was good. But it introduces, like, I don't know. I just don't like it.
Okay. Next is Assassin's Creed 2. Alex Matt put yes, I put down no. I don't like the Assassin's Creed games. Never have. Probably never will.
I don't mind them. I think Assassin's Creed 2 is one of the best ones.
I was
It's
surprised.
one of the highest regarded ones, yeah.
I was surprised to see 2 on here, not Brotherhood. I always thought Brotherhood was more highly regarded than 2.
Well, the other thing you have to consider is that because this list is kind of based on like this weird contemporary critic, like, well, I don't even know. This list is fucked. But
so yeah, people are always going to put Assassin's Creed 2 over Assassin's Creed 2 Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how it's going to be.
Well, it wasn't even 2 Brotherhood. It was just Brotherhood.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
But, yeah, and it came out at a point where the series was still fresh and not repetitive.
Yeah, that's the thing. The series has been way overdone by Ubisoft at this point, but early on, it was still good. And
2
fun.
was
Yeah.
significantly different than 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Next is Batman Arkham Asylum. It coined the term Batman combat, which plagued the industry for the next up until now.
I don't really
but
know.
Everybody loves this game.
I don't really know why. I mean, it's like actually in many ways. It's
when I say plague the industry, I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean everybody copied it.
Oh yeah, no, everybody copied its combat. It didn't invent it. I'd say Spider-Man 2 actually had very similar combat to Batman Arkham Asylum, and Spider-Man 2 was earlier, and again should be on this list.
And even Spider-Man PS4 uses this style of combat as well.
Yeah.
It's just... It seems to be... It works.
It's flow combat.
It works really well, and yeah, it's like it's flowy and fun, and Arkham Asylum also just had some incredible voiceover performances, especially by Mark Hamill, who always kills it as the Joker.
Just getting Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill back in their roles, it's always a good time hearing those. To me, they are the definitive Batman and Joker.
Yeah, and I think like Arkham Asylum is still my favorite of the like more modern Batman games.
Mm-hmm. You gifted me it on Steam, and I never played it. All right, next is Bayonetta.
I don't even know. I should have abstained. I don't even know why I said yes. I haven't played it.
Neither have I.
I assume it's good. Maybe.
People like it.
People like it.
It's a Platinum A game. It's a Platinum Z game. Okay, Borderlands. Alex and Matt put yes. I put down no.
I liked the first Borderlands, and I think that the whole like looter shooter concept was actually kind of fresh when they made the first one. And it's now been done to death and is boring.
I just thought, I mean, I talked about this in the Over It Games episode, so go listen to that if you want my feelings, but I just thought, it made a, very colorful cast of characters and world and then set it in the dullest possible environment. So, like, I play, playing Playing this game multiplayer, good time. Playing it solo, I thought was a good gigantic chore.
Well, and that's the thing. I pretty much only played it multiplayer, so
Yeah.
definitely colored my experience.
Okay. Next is Demon's Souls.
So isn't this the first Souls game from...
Yes,
From Software,
So I
yes.
said yes just because it's their first game and it's kind of iconic in that sense. Influential in that sense.
Matt said discuss. You might be surprised, or not surprised, that I said no.
Yeah, this was
Like, for as rough as I think Dark Souls is, this game's rougher.
yeah.
And no amount of weird, like, multiplayer online tendency mechanics can save this game from being a mechanical mess. Like, and I think that the overall core philosophy of the design of these games is bad. But that's a me problem. Next, Dragon Age Origins. None of us have played it. People like it, though. After that, League of Legends. I said yes, Alex abstained, Matt said no.
I just don't like MOBAs.
I don't really like MOBAs, and I'm sort of torn because in one sense this is the first MOBA entry on the list, but I don't know that League of Legends was necessarily that influential. Like Dota certainly was, but that's not a standalone
League of Legends
game.
is, I would argue, is more influential than Dota, because all MOBAs that I've played that aren't Dota play more like League. Because League of Legends focuses on what people call skill shots, where basically you like aim your abilities instead of point target your abilities, like clicking on enemies. So it's a lot of like, okay, my attack is like a wave that goes in this direction. I set it, and then like there's a time for it to go from A to B.
So it's a bit more of an action game as opposed to like a point and click.
Yeah, like
hero
people
combat game.
called MOBAs because of this game, multiplayer online battle arena. Like, they weren't calling Dota a MOBA because the genre didn't really exist yet. I think League of Legends does a number of good things, even though I prefer Dota. And to say it's not one of the best games ever made, considering its like insane popularity, I think like you have to give it the nod.
I don't think you necessarily have to give a nod to something just for the popularity, but whatever.
I mean, I also think that the characters are fun, and like they have fun designs and they're fun to play.
I mean, the TV show's great.
There you go.
I like the TV show.
The K-pop band is great. Okay, Left 4 Dead 2. I said no, Alex said no, Matt said yes.
Again,
We kind of went over this.
We kind of went over this. Yeah.
Yeah. Next is Plants vs. Zombies. I said yes, Alex said no.
This was just a cute tower defense game that,
A cute, fun tower defense game.
okay, yeah, but like, it was not particularly innovative. I didn't think it was particularly influential. I didn't think it was like, it was a flash in the pan.
But again, this was one of the first big mobile games. And I think that like has to say something.
Was it mobile?
Yes?
I played it on a PC. I assumed that it was mainly a PC
Well,
game.
because it was made by PopCap, and they put their stuff on everything.
True.
But yeah, I really like Plants vs. Zombies. It's one of my favorite tower defense games.
Yeah, like, it's a good tower defense game. I wouldn't consider it a list of all-time greatest video games, but
Whatever. Agree to disagree. Next, Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. Matt said yes. Alex said no.
yeah, I have some of the Uncharted games, and I think that they're entirely forgettable, and I don't know why. I think they have bad controls, and that they're pretty forgettable. About the only thing they have going for them, in my view, is that it was on the PS3, a console that had no...
I absolutely enjoy. I love the narrative of the Uncharted games. Like gameplay wise, they're nothing special, but I love the narrative of these games.
The shooting in Uncharted is just subpar, but I think that they're some of the most cinematic games ever made.
Yeah, they definitely have some cinematic moments, that's for sure. That wasn't enough to save it in my eyes.
It's also one of the first game. I've only played the first Uncharted, but it's one of the games where it was one of the first examples of actually good voice acting in a video game. Okay, that's still rare.
Fuck. I mean, the voice acting's okay, But by
The voice
video
acting's
games...
good. No, the first one has good voice acting, okay?
I don't know. It's fine.
You gonna
guess
shit
it's-
talk Nolan North? Not in this house. Okay, next we got God of War 3.
Yet another
haven't played a God of War game.
God of
Yeah.
War game we have no opinions on and haven't
Next,
played.
next is Heavy Rain. This is a resounding no.
This
from the
game is
three
a
of us.
joke. This game was a joke when it was released. It's a joke today. Why is it here?
It's more of a joke today.
I could go on and on about Quantic Dream.
Yeah, we should probably save that. But yeah, fuck that game. Next is Limbo. We all say no.
I think we talked about Limbo in the Overrated Games podcast.
Yeah, I just don't get it.
And although I think it's fine, it's definitely not the best. This was a flash in the pan game that critics liked.
Yep. Next, Mass Effect 2. Alex, no. Matt, yes.
It's basically
same reasons as the
it's the
previous
same
one.
conversation as
Yeah.
Mass Effect 1.
Yep. Okay.
Except I haven't actually played Mass Effect 2. I disliked Mass Effect 1 so much that I say no to 2 instead of abstaining.
All right. Next, Red Dead Redemption. Alex says yes. Matt says no.
So, before I ever completed any GTA game, Red Dead Redemption was kind of what got me to go and play GTA 4. And I enjoyed the game. But, like, it's kind of just, it's the thing where it's just the same formula. Like,
But it's a Western. No one had made an open world Western before.
Red Dead Revolver, the first game in the series.
Okay. But
The game everybody forgets about.
everyone forgets about that one because I think Redemption was just strictly better.
But yeah, I think the GTA games have a great narrative. Like, Rockstar does really good narratives, but it's bogged down by that same formula every game. And they just keep going with it. They don't try to innovate their formula or anything.
All right. Next, Rock Band 3, the game I always wanted because it had keyboard, but I never got.
Yeah, I think I just said yes to all of them because I was like, I can't tell them apart, but I like
Okay.
them.
StarCraft 2, Wings of Liberty. I think StarCraft 2 is really cool.
It's
one of
really
the best,
cool.
One of the best RTS campaigns I've played.
So, like, here's the thing. On the one hand, StarCraft 2 is basically just updated StarCraft. On the other hand, StarCraft is essentially one of the greatest RTS games, if not greatest games ever made. And it was like a 20-year gap, and it needed some updates, so it's still great. And yeah, the campaign's good. I liked StarCraft's campaign. I liked StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty. I haven't played any of the other StarCrafts that came out since, because splitting it up in the way that they did was actually, I think, a mistake.
It was a 1,000% a mistake because, like, I didn't care when the other ones came out.
Like, I own StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty, and if I had simply gotten extra campaigns as an update, I would have gone and played the game again. But I had to pay for them, and I didn't care enough to pay for them, so I never played the other ones, the other campaigns.
Yep. Next, Super Mario Galaxy 2. Alex says yes, because he's the only one that's played it, and one of your favorite games ever.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically more of Super Mario Galaxy, except they tightened it up a little bit. They got rid of some of the sections that didn't quite work. They added some stuff that worked really well, like Yoshi in 3D.
Awesome.
Fucking love Yoshi.
Yeah, change my discuss here to a yes.
Okay.
There should have been more Yoshi in Super Mario Galaxy 2. He only showed up in a couple levels, and I thought that they underused him. Mm-hmm. Also, the only real critique I have of Super Mario Galaxy 2, it's not so much of a thing that they did badly, so much as that they didn't do, which is that in Super Mario World, you could take Yoshi into any level, which was awesome. You could not take Yoshi into any level in Super Mario Galaxy 2. And I understand why you couldn't, because the way that the mechanics of how Yoshi worked were kind of different, and the level kind of needed to be built around it. But, like, I don't care. Even if the Yoshi, doesn't really work, let me take him everywhere.
You could not bring them into every level in Mario World. Ghost houses and castles.
Okay, well, almost every level. And they showed you a little cutscene showing you leaving
Leaving
Yoshi
him
at the
outside
door.
front door.
Yeah.
Right? That was cool. That explained it. There was a reason.
All right. Next, another SMB game. Super Mario Bros. Was earlier. Now we got Super Meat Boy.
I mean, that's 100% intentional.
So 3 guesses retroactively.
Yep.
Some of the best platforming controls in any game.
Yeah.
The air control in this game is immaculate.
Super Meat Boy has it might have the tightest platforming controls I've ever seen.
Yeah, like absolute fantastic.
Yeah, game's hard as balls,
great
but
levels.
incredibly fun.
Yeah. It's hard in the way that is your fault when you fuck up,
Yeah.
which is perfect. Next is Xenoblade Chronicles, Big Abstains.
Yeah.
After that, Batman Arkham City, yeses from Matt and Alex.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of the same. I personally like Asylum better, but
Same.
Arkham City is really good and technically adds to the genre in the sense that it's a bit more like, it's closer to an open world game, whereas the first one's actually very linear.
Yeah.
Okay, next is Dark Souls. Alex and Matt say yes, I say no because I'm a grouch. Like, I mean, I got so many problems with this game, but this should be a yes from me. Like, in terms of a list that is objective, that represents the world, yes, Dark Souls is one of the best games ever.
I say yes to the first half of the game.
Yeah, that's the only half of the game that I got through.
Yeah.
After I got the Lord's Soul, I'm like, I know all the places I need to go next and all the bosses I have to fight. I don't want to do any of this.
Yeah. Oh, hey, look, it's Morrowind again.
Oh, Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Nope. Nose all around.
Yeah, I changed my disgust
Yeah.
to it. Yeah, it's so iconic.
Yeah, next is Minecraft.
Yep.
There can be no argument.
Yeah.
Whatever you feel about this game, like, it's generational defining.
Yeah, I mean, Minecraft is incredible. I think the thing about Minecraft also is that although it's like it gets a lot of flack, I think, because it's so popular with children, but it is legitimately a great concept. And everyone has ripped the concept off now to the point where I'm sick of this shit kind of, but it's an incredible game.
Okay, next is Portal 2.
And I say this as and this is really, I'm old enough that I played the game that Minecraft ripped off, which was objectively better at the time, because Minecraft sucked and it was just a shallow ripoff of the game that it copied. But Notch stuck with it and made Minecraft a better game.
With where it is on this list, just everything in terms of release order, it is a vastly different game now than what it was.
Oh, it's a
where
different
placed
game.
on this
It's a
list.
different game now than when
Yeah.
I last played it, for sure.
Yeah.
The game keeps changing, yeah. And there's so much user created stuff in Minecraft that's a completely different thing again.
Yeah.
I think it deserves a place on this list.
Okay, next is Portal 2.
And
Yep.
one thing that does annoy me actually is games that inspired Minecraft that should be on this list, not on this list.
Yeah, we'll get to those later. Yeah, Portal 2. I'm trying to get to this. Yeses. Game's great. Very funny. After that, Dishonored. Matt says
played it.
no.
I played it recently. It's okay. I think it's a little overhyped, personally.
All right. After that, Far Cry 3. Alex says yes. Matt says no.
Wasn't this kind of peak Far Cry though?
Depends on who you ask.
I don't.
Some people like Far Cry 2 better.
I
Because you
haven't.
get malaria.
I haven't actually played much Far Cry, but
Far Cry 3 defined the formula going forward.
yeah.
Yeah, every game's been using pretty much the same formula, and I did enjoy it. I don't think it's a best game. If there's a Far Cry game I would have on here, it would be Blood Dragon.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, next we got Journey. Yes is all around. Game soundtrack won a Grammy,
Yeah.
pretty sure. So you gotta give it to that. Next is Hotline Miami. Alex and Matt said yes. I say no. Great soundtrack. I think the gameplay is fine, but not exciting.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Hotline Miami is that it's honestly a bit of a throwback game because it's like a weird top-down shooter game. It's almost actually
It's a puzzle game.
It's also kind of a puzzle game, yeah. It's almost like if you took the combat from fucking Grand Theft Auto, the top-down one, and tried to make it more intense and actually difficult in a way that requires almost puzzling through it. I liked it. Maybe it doesn't deserve to be on this list, but it's fun.
Yeah, maybe with more time it would be. I don't know. Next is Telltale's The Walking Dead. Matt says no.
I am actually going to switch to a yes on this.
Okay.
I was kind of thinking of this from like the perspective of like as Telltale stuff went on, and like the market got so oversaturated with their
They
games.
took on too many projects and it killed them.
But this was kind of the start. Like this was kind of the return of choose your own adventure games. Mm-hmm. And it did it well, but they really oversaturated the market as it went on. As you said, it was their downfall. But they're also kind of making a comeback.
That's weird.
I'll say this, as a big fan of The Expanse, I am actually really looking forward to The Expanse Telltale game.
All right. Next is XCOM Enemy Unknown, the modern reimagining of XCOM. Alex says yes. I said no.
Really?
Yes. I think that it's actually really janky.
Yeah. So I haven't really played this one so much, to be honest, but it did revitalize. Not only did it like revitalize XCOM, I feel like it kind of revitalized turn-based strategy.
Yes, unfortunately. It revitalized it in the way that everybody's making XCOM style games instead of any other kind of tile-based strategy game. They made a Mario and Rabbids game that has half cover and full cover in it, okay?
Yeah.
I can't... I'm not faulting this XCOM for that. I'm faulting this XCOM for not being XCOM 2.
Yeah.
I think XCOM 2, technical problems aside, is a much better playing game in every aspect than XCOM Enemy Unknown.
Yeah.
Like, going back to that game, it's so janky. Like, I tried, and I was like, no, that's reason for me to play this.
And yet again, XCOM 2 isn't on this list, but it should be the one on this list instead of this one.
That game had enough technical issues that I could see it not making the list. Maybe War of the Chosen.
Didn't Enemy Unknown have a bunch of technical issues on launch too that were pretty bad though?
How many Bethesda games are on this list?
Good
Okay,
point.
let's be honest. Okay, also, let's be honest. What Firaxis game has not had a bunch of technical issues on launch? Even the Civ games, which are incredible, have always had a bunch of technical issues on launch.
Civ 3 worked perfect. I had no technical problems with Civ 3.
Did you play it on launch?
I had the CD for it.
I had the CD for it too, but was it a long...
I don't know if I got...
Then again, I don't know if I patched...
updates for that game.
Yeah, then again, it's like, I don't know if I patched that game, so...
Yeah, like...
Actually, I take it back. Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri, no bugs.
And I should also point out that I got Civ 3 with the expansions, which maybe fixed things. I don't know, but we'll move on.
Anyway, XCOM 2, put it there instead. Pretend it's there. Bioshock Infinite, no. I just hated the first Bioshock so much. Yep. I'm just like, no.
Cascading hatred.
I've been planning to play through them all just because I need to know.
Mm-hmm. Next is Dota 2. You might be... Not surprising at all. I said yes. You two said no. You guys don't like MOBAs and I do.
Yep.
But this... I think this game is so important for Valve.
Probably, yeah.
It made Valve not make games anymore.
That sounds like a bad thing, but okay.
And, like, I think its importance can't be understated. It and League of Legends, like, what it did for esports. Like, and the insane prize pools for this in North America. Like,
yeah.
Like, it really did a lot. And I think it's a really good game. Like, it's much, much better than Dota and Warcraft 3. Okay. Next, Grand Theft Auto 5. Alex says yes. Matt says no.
I am actually going to switch to a yes. While I still have my same problems, like the narrative's great, but same formula. It introduced GTA Online, which is a whole different beast of its own.
Fair enough.
Yeah, the fact that GTA 5 is still going, like, almost, I think it's like
two generations later.
Yeah, 2 generations later. On the one hand, it's kind of like, really, Rockstar? Like, are you not going to make another GTA? But on the other hand, the game's basically... There's not much more they can really do with it they've basically polished it about as much as they can without radically like redefining what a GTA game is. Which maybe they should do. Because although this is probably like the peak of the 3D GTA formula, yeah, that formula is definitely showing age.
All right, next is The Last of Us. Alex says yes, Matt says no.
This is about around the time where I started getting really sick of zombie games.
That's another reason why I said no to both Left 4 Dead.
Yeah,
I just don't give a shit about zombies in any media.
Yeah.
This is one of the games, I haven't actually played it, but I've heard that the narrative is actually really well done.
The narrative is good.
And that it's actually got good writing and voice acting, but I haven't actually played it, so this is more like just my general sense of why the game should be on the list.
But yeah, I mean, it's the same people behind Uncharted, so it's what I expect from them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know. I just started getting really sick of zombie games around that time, and even now, even though I'm going back and playing the Resident Evils now, I feel like that's a different beast in and of itself.
Yeah.
So next is Destiny, which killed Halo. Not by being better than Halo, by simply destroying the studio that made good Halo games.
Yeah, the studio that made good Halo games made something else, and Destiny has problems.
Yeah. Well,
good shooting, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, no,
Great shooting.
It's fun to play, but I don't think it's a best game of all time. It's fun with friends, being able to do raids, but like overall, like, and this is a lot of my Destiny 2 bias, just getting worn out with the game. It's just no.
All right. Next, Shovel Knight. A couple yeses from Matt and Alex.
So, like, I said yes to this, but because I loved Shovel Knight. And all the critics loved Shovel Knight, because all the critics are our age. But if I'm being honest, like, is it really, like... It might be peak of the, like, essentially Mega Man 2-esque, like, platforming style of genre. But is it really... I don't know. It's hard to say. I really like it. It's great.
Okay, it's great.
I don't know.
Next is Bloodborne. Alex Mass says yes, I say no.
I haven't played this. I don't know why I said yes. I should have abstained.
I mean, I haven't played it either, so I really shouldn't have actually said no, but it's a Souls game. So I'm just pulling like what you did for BioShock and those other games and making my hatred go farther.
Yep.
Bloodborne is my favorite Souls-like.
Yeah. And it's a lot of people's favorite Souls-like.
Yeah, it's... the combat is really different. Because I found, like, for me personally, like, I found I was just hiding behind a shield a lot playing Dark Souls. But I love how aggressive the combat in this game is. If you take a hit, like in Dark Souls, if you take a hit, like, you need to back off and heal. In this, you take a hit, you just get in there, deal some damage, and you can recover some of that health you lost. I love how aggressive it is. The setting, the transforming weapons are really cool. I love this game.
Okay. Next we have Undertale. Me and Matt said no. Alex said yes.
So, I haven't played it, but Megalovania alone is so good that it should go on the list.
Okay, play the first half hour of it and get back to me.
I should probably actually play the game.
I think it's overrated.
Next, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Matt says yes. Because you're the only one that's played it.
I haven't even played that much. It's just because of how beloved it is.
Yeah, I haven't played it. I don't really know.
Okay. Next, we have Inside, which
So
Alex says yes.
So this is the contrast to Limbo. And it's funny because I think you got them confused or something.
No, I did not get the
All right. Well, I think maybe you had the same
Sean may have.
thoughts about them. But we talked about this.
I put abstain because I haven't actually played or seen much of Inside.
Yeah, we talked about this on the Overrated Games episode. And while I think Limbo was more flash in the pan, like not necessarily something I'd recommend playing. Inside I actually really liked and think it is still worth playing. cool puzzle platformer with like some very like well done environmental storytelling.
All right. Next is Overwatch, which Alex and Matt said no. I said yes.
It's just reskinned Team Fortress 2
Yeah?
by Blizzard.
Yeah?
I love TF2. I didn't play Overwatch.
I made some great friends because of this game, but I'm so sick of it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, when Overwatch came out, that's all I did. That's all pretty much anybody I knew did for months. Every day when I got home from work after Overwatch came out, I had people wanting to play Overwatch. Like, an entire summer. Like, I was playing this pretty much every day with people of different friends groups. And I think what this game does for bringing like the concept of playing your role to a wider audience, like I think that like it's polished to all hell. The characters are extremely popular. People love the characters in this game. So I think it does enough things like great that I think it's one of the few fucking modern games here that I actually think deserves to be on here.
I love how the new characters are going to be locked behind the battle passes in Overwatch 2.
Yeah, I'm not. I played the game when it launched for like 3 months straight, and then on and off for a year. So I can't say what they're doing with it now, but like that summer was fucking magical. Where like I was just all of my free time was Overwatch. Okay, next Stardew Valley. Matt says yes.
Again, have not played it, but it's...
Oh, you did.
Well, I've played a little bit, but that was when it first came out on the Switch, and I stopped because there was some weird bugs. I was going to go back to it after it got fixed, but I never did. But it's just so beloved.
Mm-hmm.
People just absolutely love this game, so because of that, it's deserving of a spot.
I mean, it seems to be the most popular farming town game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Blows Harvest Moon out of the water. Next, Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. Matt says yes.
I abstained, and I finally decided with Uncharted 4, I'm like, it's far enough.
You don't know anything about it.
It's far enough from the one
abstain.
it's far enough from the one that I played and disliked and thought was overrated that I'll just abstain.
Again, just doesn't do anything special, but just I absolutely love the narrative of this game.
Mm-hmm. Next is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Another Legend of Zelda game. Alex says yes. Matt says discuss. I abstain because I haven't played it.
It's a game.
Wow, you fucking Nick Gotten in one.
Fucking got him.
I enjoy it, and I understand, like, people love this game, but it's just so far from, like, what Zelda has been up to this point.
Like, people say it, like, is one of the, in recent memory, one of the more revolutionary open world games. Like, about how it's mixed up the formula. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. It's certainly mixed up the formula.
I think so I haven't actually really played it. I've watched Matt play it a bit. The other thing, and the reason I said yes, is because everything seems to be ripping it off now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's, like, it's funny because, like, I remember when it first came out, people were like, oh, it's just open world Zelda. But it seems to have impacted the open world genre quite significantly to the point where everyone wants to copy what it's doing. So that's usually the sign that on influential criteria alone, at least, maybe it deserves a spot on the list. I haven't played it, but
I think every other Zelda game listed on here is much more deserving than Breath of the Wild, personally.
Okay, next, Super Mario Odyssey. Alex, yes. Matt, yes. I haven't played it.
it's great.
Yep.
It does some things a bit differently, quite differently than the other 3D Marios. I'm not sure I entirely like the direction they took it with, but the game's solid and polished as fuck.
Oh,
It's a beautifully running. Yeah.
Probably one of the best looking and running games on the Switch.
Yeah.
Scott, Mario can become a Moai statue. It's pretty good.
Hey, he can become a T-Rex, man. T-Rex. Level 1, they give you... Wait, now level 2, they give you the T-Rex.
All right. Next is the second game, just titled God of War on here.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, use a subtitle, please. Like, it's getting confusing, especially when apparently both God of War games are good enough to be on this list, supposedly.
Yeah. And it's... People, like, putting the fucking year afterwards rubbed me the wrong way. Like, one game that's not on here that I was actually shocked by was Doom 2016 is not on here.
Or Eternal.
Yeah, this list gets really sparse towards the modern era.
Yeah.
But, like, that's another thing. I'm just like, I hate it when the games are named the exact same thing. Like, that just shows you that the franchise has gone on too long.
Yeah.
You can't think of anything else, or that it's just like, oh, we're reimagining it.
But it is also, in a way, a soft... it's a reboot sequel.
Yeah, which is really weird.
Yeah. But
you did put yes on this one.
yeah, I mean, Kratos is voiced by Christopher Judge. Need I say more?
Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. You got me. Okay, and the last game on this fucking list, the 296th game that we've gone through today, is Red Dead Redemption 2.
I mostly said yes, just I haven't played it just based on...
I haven't played it, so I've abstained.
Yeah, I don't know. I probably should have abstained.
Yeah.
But...
Matt is no, and he's holding his head.
And you're the one that's actually played it.
I absolutely love the narrative of this game. But it was a slog to get through. And that's what just... No.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like there's a lot of more modern games that like people just love the narrative or the scope and scale.
Yeah,
like when I talk to people about why they like the Oblivion or Skyrim games, it's always like, oh, it's this like incredibly epic fantasy setting, and I'm like, okay, that's like that's like the idea for a game.
Like for me, if a game has a good narrative and like the gameplay is serviceable at the least, like I could absolutely love it if the narrative is fantastic. And like, I'm not saying Red Dead Redemption plays bad, but it's just, again, same formula that they've been using forever, and it's just an absolute slog.
Yeah, that's mainly what I've heard about the game, is that it is slow. All right, so that concludes this epic list of games that we think is a weird list.
It's a weird list. We were at times, I think, too generous to this list.
Yeah.
If anything.
I was too generous at the start, and then I just abstained a bunch for those later ones I haven't played.
Yeah, I was probably too...
Time hasn't, like, fully been able to judge, I think.
I was kind of the opposite, where I abstained more towards the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so...
You know what? I was definitely too generous near the end.
Yeah, you put yeses on a lot of games that you're like, well, people seem to like it.
Yeah, I don't even know what I'm doing.
Yeah. I mean, okay, full disclosure, we decided to do this topic yesterday, on date of recording, and I sent them the list at 3:30 a.m. And like Alex did it like right before he came here, and Matt went through it like when he got here. So this was definitely a quick go through.
Yeah. So now that you've already spent what 3-4 hours listening to us talk about this,
it's a little over 3.
3 hours 10 minutes.
Ish.
Now you know that we totally phoned it in.
Yep. Just like every week.
That said, I think now we're going to actually get into an interesting part, which is talking about the things that are missing.
Yeah, there's a few that I think are...
This is a super weird list.
Yeah, there's a couple that are like pretty notable, I think. I already said Minesweeper, but that was mostly a joke. For me, the biggest miss is Cave Story.
Holy shit. Oh, so I have Cave Story on my list of misses here too, and Cave Story is an incredible miss because Cave Story basically kickstarted the indie like gaming movement.
Yeah, it's the first modern indie game in my opinion.
Yeah. Essentially the first game, because like really before like really early indie gaming didn't make sense as a label because everything was effectively indie. Just because the studios were so small, teams were so small. Some of the games on this list at the beginning were literally made by like one person.
As good as it was, I feel like a lot of people still don't know about Cave Story. I feel like it's very niche, which is probably why it's not on here.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, Cave Story initially was a PC-only freeware title, basically.
Yeah.
And it is an absolutely incredible game that kind of like kickstarted the indie movement in terms of indie gaming. But like, I talked about this a little bit in our Overrated Games podcast when we were talking about Braid. Braid was probably one of the most popularly known first indie titles. I frankly think it's not deserving. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's actually that great. That's why it's popular though. And it was because it was on the Xbox Live Arcade. And the Xbox Live Arcade was like a huge spot.
That was a huge deal.
Huge deal for like early indie gaming. But I actually think that a lot of the like really more interesting early indie stuff was actually happening on PC because you didn't have to go through a publisher.
Yeah.
And Cave Story is the absolutely archetypical example of that. The entire thing was made by one guy in Japan.
Yeah, if you can, try and find like the original like free download version of it. Don't give them your money for Cave Story. Because
I mean,
No. Do you not know?
Know what?
Nicalis completely took the rights of this game away from the creator.
What?
He sees nothing of any of these sales now.
Really? Oh, that's
Yeah.
bullshit.
Okay, yeah, get the free one. I was going to say get the free one anyways, because Cave Story 3D is objectively a bad way to play Cave Story, and I don't think the updated visuals of Cave Story Plus are good.
No, I prefer the original visuals.
And the original music, too.
The original music as well, definitely. But yeah, Cave Story is a massively conspicuous omission because not only is it like so influential, but the game's incredible and absolutely still holds up.
Yeah. Like the full version of the jetpack has some of the best platform controls I've played. It's so fun to use.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Nicalis comes knocking about your game, close that door in their face.
Yeah. There was a couple other actually so I actually have a whole section just indie because I think indie games are like totally just conspicuously missing from this kind of list.
There's some, but it's like it's there is a lot.
Yeah, this is definitely leaning towards like kind of bigger titles, popular titles, as opposed to necessarily like better but lesser known titles.
And like the end of the list is definitely really lacking.
Yeah.
Well, that just has to be a function of how many places are writing here's the greatest games of all time lists. Because again, that's what this is based off of.
Well,
There's
and also,
plenty of recent games that I say deserve to be on there that aren't here.
Yeah, and the thing is that, again, this list is kind of being like wiki edit war jockeyed for people to just get their favorite games on the list. And a lot of those best games ever lists they skew towards older games because in many cases the lists themselves are older.
Yeah.
And also it takes a long time to really like be kind of like confident that a game should belong on a list like that. So yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why the list kind of doesn't do so well on the newer stuff.
Yeah, because Red Dead's the last game on here, and that came out in 2019.
Yes.
Yeah. But like another game that I think absolutely deserves to be on this list and also would be very difficult to even place, although I am pretty sure I've seen it on some lists of greatest big games of all time, is Dwarf Fortress.
Yeah, Dwarf Fortress hasn't been released yet.
Technically, no. Technically, Dwarf Fortress is still unreleased. But that's sort of like an artifact of the fact that it's essentially just a continuously updated game. And it's funny because when I was saying like, oh man, games that inspired inspired Minecraft.
I thought you were going to bring up Dwarf Fortress then, but
I was going to, but I saved it for the end. But yeah, so I think the creator Notch said that Dwarf Fortress and Roller Coaster Tycoon both influenced his like
Roller Coaster
ideas.
Tycoon, another insane absence.
Another insane
yeah.
absence. Roller Coaster Tycoon should be on this list, or actually, literally any Tycoon game whatsoever. There are a couple Sims games on the list, but there is no Tycoon game in the list.
Yeah.
That's practically a whole genre missing.
Yeah.
I've got to wonder how many times this article has been edited to include Elden Ring and then it's been removed.
Yeah.
Because I know it only came out this year, but like that game,
that would be
like
funny.
with how well
see.
it did. Like I feel like it should be.
It's going to be on here pretty
It'll be
soon
on
enough.
there,
Yeah. But quick correction: Red Dead Redemption 2 and God of War are the latest games, and they were both released in 2018, not 19.
Oh, feels older than that, but
Pandemic.
yeah.
I'm just gonna say that and move on. There's a couple others I think are just like weird Well, okay. The other three absences I have here aren't weird, but I would have liked to see. I would have liked to see Tactics Ogre. Considering that they put Final Fantasy Tactics here, I think that you shouldn't have one without the other in terms of just like defining early tactical RPGs. Like super seminal game.
I don't think there was a Fire Emblem game on here.
That's
either.
my other one, is that there's no Fire Emblem game on here.
Yeah,
and
which
Fire
is-
Emblem 7 is one of the best turn-based strategies games ever made.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. It was on the GBA. There weren't that many GBA games on here. Or there might not have actually been a single GBA game on here. Except Advance Wars might have been the only
Advance
one.
Wars definitely was, but yeah.
GBA game was
I don't know.
like the Ruby Sapphire wasn't.
I think only Gen 1 and Gen 2 Pokemon games were on the list.
Yeah.
Which honestly, fair. It's been basically the same ever since.
And the last one that I have here is I really would have liked to see Monster Rancher on here. Because there are some games on here that are on here entirely based on their gimmicks. And Monster Rancher has a better gimmick than any of them. So, like, if you're going to put something like Eternal Darkness on here, and in my opinion, like Katamari.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, no, I love Katamari, but it is kind of a gimmicky game.
like something like Monster Rancher should be more recognized.
Yeah.
But that, again, that's fine.
Yeah, again, we talked about this, but Worms Armageddon should be on this list.
Yep.
I think for influence, Scorched Earth is kind of like the...
That's glaring in my opinion.
I think it essentially popularized the artillery genre.
Yep.
But again, because it's shareware, it didn't really have an official release, it probably is not here for kind of the similar reasons as Dwarf Fortress.
I got it on a disc that was like 30 shareware games,
Yeah.
along with like ZZZ and a bunch of other weird stuff.
Yeah. One thing that, I really like is the Paper Mario series, and there wasn't an entry on here from there. I don't know if it really deserves to be on this list, frankly, but it is in my list of favorite games of all time.
Here's the thing, if there's going to be 300 games here, which there are, 1,000 Year Door deserves to be on that list.
Yeah, like Thousand Year Door is an incredible game, and I don't know if...
Same with like Super Mario RPG. I was surprised that wasn't there.
Yeah, and I don't know that like the Mario
like it that
RPGs invented the sort of action timing in like action events in an RPG.
They might have.
But they definitely were like one of the earlier ones to do that.
They're the most prolific.
And I definitely think they're one of the most popular ones that's done it well. Again, Spider-Man 2 or the PS4 Spider-Man.
Yeah.
PS4 Spider-Man's too new.
It's too new, but like
Yeah. Web
they should be on there.
Yeah.
They are, in my mind, like Spider-Man 2 is the best open world game I've ever played, just because the web swinging is so goddamn fun.
Yeah,
I've talked about this before.
I would argue the same thing about Crackdown, because that's got the best open world movement of a game I've played.
Yeah. Open world game needs to have incredible movement. And yeah, those games knocked it out. I was really surprised that there was not a single Kirby game, especially because I swear I've seen Kirby Superstar on a lot of all-time greatest video game lists.
Yeah, that's actually, now that you mention it, that is pretty surprising.
It is a surprising omission, and there's not a single Kirby game on here. And especially given like how much pro Nintendo bias this list has, I'm surprised that there isn't a Kirby game.
I'm surprised Melee was the only Smash game on here.
Yeah, I expected to see the first one on there too, but it wasn't there.
Yeah, I would have expected the first one.
Also, thinking back on, were there any 3DS titles on this list?
3DS? I don't think so. No. unless Stardew Valley came to 3DS.
No. I mean, Minecraft's on there.
Yeah. But, like, I mean, Portable's
Yeah.
got fucking shafted. There's
Yeah.
not a single PSP game
Yeah.
on here. There's not a... there's, like, what, the one GBA game. I don't think there's a DS game
Yeah.
on here either.
Yeah, a lot of handheld
I mean,
is
Ace
absent.
Attorney,
Ace
kind
Attorney,
of.
Yeah.
Okay, well, technically that's a GBA game.
technically, I suppose. Yeah, the original was, but
But, like, yeah, like, so Portable's got are pretty shafted here. Like, it's surprising that, they put a couple mobile games on here before some, like, all-time great console or portable console games.
yeah,
Like, Pokemon's the best representation they got.
Yeah.
yeah. I felt like there isn't. Spelunky's the only example I can think of that we saw on this of like a roguelike.
Yeah.
Which I mean, like we said, like I don't personally. Spelunky's probably one of the most popular roguelikes, but I don't actually think it's definitely not my favorite.
Give it a couple years, Hades will be on this list.
Yeah, Hades should be on this list, but I think it's just too new.
I'm surprised Binding of Isaac wasn't on here.
That's one I'm surprised by.
I'm not the biggest fan, but that is a very beloved
That game is huge.
Yeah,
So I'm surprised about that.
The podcast probably thinks that Transistor should be on this list.
And Bastion,
Yeah.
for that matter.
And Bastion.
I still
yeah,
need to play Bastion.
Yeah.
Like the general majority, I think, likes Bastion more than Transistor, which is crazy.
I think that's wrong, but
it kind of goes to what this is, where there are some games here where they put the first game in the franchise, even though subsequent games are better.
yeah.
Which people seem to attribute to Supergiant as a franchise, which it's a studio, not a
yeah.
franchise. You shouldn't attribute it like that.
It's not a franchise. Yeah, but I understand that's a common misconception before you play the games for some reason.
I don't think it's a misconception. It's just like a wrong way of thinking.
Yeah.
It. Maybe
Yeah.
that's what a misconception is. But
Maybe.
whatever.
Yeah.
Any other notable absences?
I think AudioSurf is a notable absence personally because AudioSurf was a phenomenon. And like there's other rhythm games here that were just like a phenomenon, like obviously Rock Band. I think AudioSurf was maybe like a bit smaller, obviously, than Rock Band.
A bit. Much.
But hell, like AudioSurf was a game where like people loved it. I swear I've seen it on like greatest video game lists, and like there was like tons and tons of like people were just throwing like every song they could think of on YouTube. Like, oh, here's me playing this song on AudioSurf, and it's just legitimately like one of my favorite rhythm-ish games. Like it's kind of more of a puzzle game, also. I don't know. I just like AudioSurf.
Yeah.
You know that.
I do too.
But again, it's a bit more of a niche indie game, I guess, and so doesn't really make this kind of list. I think I was surprised that, like, talking about the roguelikes again, that there wasn't, like, the prototypical example, like either a rogue or a NetHack showing up on here. Just because they are well-known and, like, well-regarded.
And like Rogue was old enough that it shares company with some of these old PC games that are on here.
Exactly. Like, Rogue honestly seems way more deserving of being on this list than some of that other schlock in the early years.
So,
And then this one's really new, but I would put Outer Wilds on this list.
Yeah, hard agree.
all right. You do you.
How is Marvel vs. Capcom 2 not on here? That game is so beloved.
I mean, there's a lot of fighting games that aren't like
That are-
What there was two Street Fighters, a Tekken, and two Soul Calibers. That was it. For
Some
fighting games?
Mortal Kombat.
Oh, yeah, Mortal
Two
Kombat
Mortal
1 and 2.
Kombats.
Yeah, so there's
I think that's honestly just a function of popularity.
Yeah, I feel like they probably don't make it to. They're probably on, like, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is probably on a lot of best fighting games of all time lists, which they probably discount. They're probably only looking at
General.
best games of all time.
yeah. Where's Mario Paint? That's my question. Not serious, but
Nah, where's
Mario
Where's
was
that
missing.
Yeah, Mario is missing.
Mario
Where's
teaches
Mario is
typing.
missing?
Where's Zelda CDI?
where's Mario Golf? Mario Tennis? Any Mario sports game?
Kart's kind of a sports game.
Yeah.
How was Super Mario Kart the only Mario Kart game on here?
That is surprising. I would have thought that 64 Double Dash might have made it on here.
Yeah, 64 especially, like, people love it.
Yeah.
Very nostalgic for it. I mean, I think arguably 8 is really good, and I would expect it to be on one of these lists in the future.
Maybe.
No, dude, the sales numbers on 8 are insane. 8's actually...
yeah.
8's like way up there.
Oh, I know. It's like... God, I think 8 Deluxe is still like one of the top 3 best-selling Switch games, which is really, really depressing, honestly. But... Yeah.
And nobody bought a Wii U.
Unfortunately.
I'm disappointed by the lack of Banjo-Kazooie.
Okay.
You know, it does show up on these like greatest of all time lists.
Yeah.
So I'm
that is
surprised
actually
it
surprising.
didn't show up. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, not the most N64 representation on here either.
Like no 1080 snowboarding. I hear that game's beloved.
I mean,
I love that game.
I
but
love
it. Doesn't
it.
deserve to be
I
here.
love it, but it's not. I love it, but I wouldn't put it
Yeah.
on this list. But yeah,
Any other like really notable ones?
I mean,
Not just games you like, games that you think deserve to be on
I
here.
know. I'm like, oh man, Risk of Rain should be on this list. Risk of Rain 2, but they're niche indie games. I get it. They're incredible.
I mean, I think Risk of Rain 2 deserves to be on this list. I think it's so fucking fun.
It's so good.
But, okay. Well, there's been enough silence, so let's go on to the last question of the day. Which of these games would you say is objectively the greatest game of all time? It's a stupid question that doesn't really deserve to be answered. But I'm asking it anyways because I think it'll be fun. And then I can give you the numbers to potentially back up your answers. Because I went through the citations, and I took the ones that were on the most, that had the most citations.
Ooh,
and
okay.
ordered them in sheet 2 on this Excel document.
Yeah, I mean, objectively, like...
I mean, I have mine picked out, and I think it's the boring populist answer. But I also think it's true.
I'm pretty sure... Yeah.
Like, okay, you know what I think would be fun?
can't-
If we all pick ours and then do a 3, 2, 1 countdown.
one game off this list.
Or not on this list.
It's like an impossible question.
I know, that's why I'm asking it.
But
The funny thing is that I actually got mine very, very, very quickly.
fuck it. Okay.
I think I know what you're gonna say.
I got one.
Okay.
I guess I got one too.
All right. So these are our picks for the objectively best game. 3, 2, 1. Ocarina
Super
of Time.
Mario World. Okay, I heard Ocarina of Time.
Yep.
I said Super Mario World.
Halo 3.
Halo 3. Okay.
I'm surprised you didn't say Final Fantasy
We got
Tactics.
three.
Final Fantasy Tactics is my favorite game. I do not think it's objectively the greatest
We
game.
got 3 different
Final Fantasy
genres.
Tactics has problems. The translation is abysmal, and the difficulty curve is non-existent. Like, I cannot... I can split favorite and objective for that, but I do legitimately think, like, Ocarina of Time did everything right.
Yeah.
It's like, again, the transition from 2D Zelda to 3D Zelda, like, I'm in the minority, but I don't think Mario pulled it off until Galaxy. I don't think Worms didn't. I like Worms 3D, and that didn't work.
Worms 3D did not work. It's a weird game.
I like that game way more than I should, but it didn't work. But like,
I'm actually kind of sad because I feel
Castlevania and Mega Man fucking biffed it, transitioned to 3D.
Wait, no, I'm changing my answer.
Yep.
Super Mario Brothers 3.
Okay, I like it.
I think that's Santo's favorite.
That's my
Mario.
That's my favorite Mario game.
It's my favorite 2D side-scrolling Mario.
Mine's World, but
As of late, I've been more of a fan of these 3D movement, like the Super Mario 3D World and 3D Land games, because like all the new Super Mario Brothers games, they're all very samey.
yeah. What was I saying?
I could continue. I wasn't done. Like, every temple and boss in Ocarina of Time is memorable to me, which is like, the opposite of what I felt about Twilight Princess. That a lot of the game isn't. But I remember, like, the entirety of Ocarina of Time. The music's incredible. I think the controls are actually fine.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, the control.
It also told a. Go ahead.
I was going to say, the controls are actually like, they're surprising in that the camera actually works.
Yes.
Which, for a 3D game of that era,
With one analog stick.
Yeah, with one analog stick, could not often be said.
It is saved by the Z lock-on.
Yes,
It is.
Exactly.
It is, yeah.
And one other thing, I think that it set the modern standard for, like, how to convey a story in 3D as well. Like, the cutscenes in Ocarina of Time, I think, don't get enough credit for how they're shot and how things look. Like, when Ganondorf first shows up, that's a terrifying, imposing moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not when he first shows up, because you see him at the castle, but when he shows up on the horse. Later on in the kid stuff, like that's an incredible scene.
Yeah.
All the boss introductions as well, like the camera work in that game is impeccable.
Yeah. I think, the other thing too is that, like, Ocarina of Time is actually, like, really interesting thematically, and I didn't actually realize it so much until playing it, like, more recently.
Mm-hmm.
And oh man, like, I think actually we might make a whole episode about this at some later time, but, like, the game actually, like, hits way harder than you realize when you go and play it as an adult and you played it as a child, because the whole game thematically is about, like, the loss of innocence and sort of, like, about, like, the, like, sort of weird, forcibly, like, it's like just this, like, forcibly, like, Link is essentially forced to grow up and lose his childhood, and that fucking hits way harder as an adult who played the game as a child. It's fucking ridiculous, honestly, and I didn't realize it at the time because those themes don't make sense
When you're
to
12.
a child playing through the game for the first time, but to an adult playing the game again, like, brutal, honestly. So like
you played it last year?
Yeah.
Year? And like, how does this game hold up?
So, like, mechanically the series has made some improvements, but overall it's still a really good game. The graphics obviously are dated, but I think that if you can get past that a little bit, that it's still a great game. And like, the controls are still quite good. And the themes are, like, really, really powerful, especially if you played it as a child and then are playing it again, because it's just kind of ridiculous how impactful that sort of story really is.
Yeah.
That said, it's not perfect, and some of the stuff in that game is total bullshit, and it's esoteric as fuck.
Yep.
Yeah. But even with the graphics being a bit outdated, the 3DS version does clean them up very nicely.
Yeah, I mean, I played an emulated version of the N64 version, so that cleaned it up.
Yeah. And so
anti-aliasing to the max, baby.
Yeah, so like the reason
if I emulated the 3DS version, it might have looked better.
Maybe. But yeah, the reason why I pick Ocarina of Time is, like, what I laid out in the very beginning of why I think, a greatest game of all time has to be is something that, innovative, genre defining, and still holds up. Ocarina of Time does both.
Yeah.
But you both pick Mario games. Different ones.
Yeah, I mean, Super Mario World is just so... I still think it's pretty much peak for the 2D Mario formula. I really like a lot of the power-ups are really cool. It's super fun. The controls are, like, really, really tight.
Yeah, you had, like, number 3 of your favorite games or whatever.
I did, yeah. And also, it did some things that actually... that the franchise has kind of walked back from.
Like the spin jump.
But also the way that the overworld works, where you can like, you have full access to the entire overworld as you open it up, and there's, like, hidden pathways, alternate exits for levels, and 3 had that as well. But the thing about 3 is that, like, once you advanced, you couldn't go backwards, and
What?
Or maybe you can. Oh, I guess you can.
So you can't go back to levels you've already played unless you fail, and then have to restart the world over again.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. You can't go and play a level again.
No.
I don't know. I kind of liked being able to play the levels again, especially because, again, with the alternate exits and hidden secrets and stuff.
They kept that going with New Super Mario Bros., but not nearly as many alternate exits.
Oh, it's
and stuff
way,
like that.
way more simplified in the New Super Mario Bros. Games, and it's not as engaging and it's not as replayable, and it doesn't have as much like Super Mario World. There's this sense of mystery and like this sense of like accomplishment in that you're actually like really figuring out like the cracks and crevices of this world, right? And there's like these secret areas that you unlock and you're like, oh man, this secret area is so dope. Like I've got these like, I can go get a Yoshi when I lose my Yoshi in this like secret area. And it's like,
I think that's what differentiates me and Matt and you is why our like favorite 2D Marios is yours is World, ours is 3. I think it's just a different amount of reverence for Yoshi.
but the Yoshi's so cool.
You've been talking about like, Galaxy 2. It's like, oh, they got Yoshi.
They got Yoshi, man.
You're all about the Yoshi.
All about the Yoshi. Yeah. I mean, the feather was also really cool, and I like the feather. And the cape was like, wow, it's same thing. But
the cape that you got from the feather for some reason.
Yeah, I never really understood that, but I really liked it, and it was a bit more interesting because like it like lets you fly indefinitely, but only if you're actually good at using it. And then also it's just kind of fun to like just
dive bomb
stuff with that power up. Yeah, it's super fun. I also really like the music in World. I think I like the music in World better than 3, personally. But that's subjective.
It is. I disagree with you.
I still think Super Mario World is a fantastic game, but I just prefer 3. And this might be cheating, but it's not like my favorite version is not the original.
I mean, mine isn't either.
I much prefer the Game Boy Advance re-release.
Yeah, I like the Super Mario All-Stars version. I think the updated visuals are much better.
Yeah, I played it on All-Stars for the most part.
See, the Game Boy Advance version, it does have the updated visuals, but it also has, once you beat the game, you can freely traverse all the worlds and replay levels.
Yeah. All right.
That was insanely long.
Yeah.
And...
We need to see what is the objective best according to the sources that contributed to this list.
I have, I think, 7 games here, maybe 7 or 8. How about Super Mario Kart?
What?
That appeared on 40 lists.
Oh, okay.
Next,
that's we're going in reverse order.
Reverse order, yes.
Okay. So the 7th best video game of
7th or 8th. I forget how many I have here.
Yeah.
But let's just go. Next, Resident Evil 4 appeared on 42. A ton of lists for Resident Evil 4.
Sure,
that surprised me at first, but it makes way more sense when you think about it.
Consider just how popular it is and how much it's been re-released.
Yeah.
By sheer numbers alone, it's going to make the list.
Ocarina of Time, of course.
I mean, that one deserves it, I think.
GoldenEye 007 appeared on a fuck ton of lists, and I love this game.
GoldenEye is amazing.
Yep. The amount of options they gave you for a console game, mind-blowing.
I think we kind of like missed talking about how
we were trying to speed through some of them.
We had almost 300 games to go through, and everyone loves GoldenEye.
When it came to like, was it like the first like single console like split screen shooter? If not, it was like pretty close.
There was probably some janky ass thing for the Super Nintendo that technically was.
If there was any, it wasn't good.
Yeah.
It was definitely the first split screen console shooter that was good.
Yeah.
And it knocked it out.
Next, Doom.
Okay.
I can totally see it.
That deserves
totally
a spot up there.
Street Fighter 2. A lot of people like Street Fighter 2. And I feel that this might be Street Fighter 2 being like condensed with all the versions.
Yeah. I'm surprised that it's so high, but it's definitely
defining.
Like a genre-defining fighting
People love
game.
throwing out fireballs.
Yep. Okay. Next one's really fun. Super Mario 64.
Not surprised.
That's
no surprise.
Yeah. Love that game. And objectively greatest game of all time based on sheer
A number of appearances
Yeah.
on like top video game lists.
sheer citation count is, drumroll please, and this is actually a fair jump from 49 sources to 57, Tetris.
Tetris.
Okay,
Hell
yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Everybody can get behind Tetris, no matter
That's-
who you are.
yeah, Tetris
I don't
is-
like games on this
Tetris
list.
is incredible.
Everybody likes Tetris.
Tetris is too good.
So yeah, that's the answer to what's the greatest video game ever created? Is Tetris.
Yeah.
It's the most deserving of being on the list for
Again,
sure.
it's a game that I consider a perfect game.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing wrong with Tetris. It excels at everything it sets out to do.
Yep.
I've spent so much. When I bought the Game Boy version of Tetris on the 3DS, I spent so much time playing it, like replaying, because I had that on the Game Boy as a kid. I started having Tetris stress dreams.
Oh yeah, they named an entire game after the Tetris effect, which is where you close your eyes and you see Tetris pieces.
Yep.
And that's happened to me after long stints of playing Tetris DS before bed.
Yeah. That game was pretty good. I reviewed it on another episode. And the only thing I didn't like about Tetris Effect is that it didn't have the original Tetris music, which is a damn shame.
Which is extremely surprising.
They should have at least had some weird like remix version of
yeah.
it.
Yep. All right, so if I'm out of energy.
If
Let's
you
just
made
outro.
if you made it this far, congratulations.
Yeah, I could split this up into multiple episodes, but I don't think I'm going to.
I mean, we could have split it up into multiple recording sessions. We could have done like 1970s to
Yeah,
80s or
could have done it by
something.
decade.
By
yeah.
decade, yeah.
If you listen to this without increasing the playback speed, you are a monster.
You're a devoted fan. What are you talking about?
You are a masochist.
Yeah. All right. So plugs. Yeah, we got a YouTube channel, Twitch and a Twitch channel. Yeah, that one too, and Twitter that we never update. Santo here started playing Pokemon Shield on Twitch. I'm planning to stream basically the entire game as I get ready for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet to come out. We also got an XCOM Let's Play that's ongoing, so check that out. If you have any input on the greatest game of all time, feel free to leave a comment down below or email us at 3levelsdeep@outlook.com. And
if we get enough email, we could do a mailbag.
if we get a single piece of mail, we could do a mailbag.
Yeah.
Yeah, so reach out, touch base, all that stuff. I'm gonna go take a nap.
Yeah, that was a long
Later.
episode.
I'm gonna go home and shower.
Yeah.
Paper Mario